and welcome to episode 94 of
The Eldritch Podblast.
I am Margaret.
I'm Jack.
And hello.
Hello, everybody.
How we doing? What we up to? What you eating?
That's too hot. I was about to take a drink.
No.
It's going to be too hot. I can feel it in the mug.
Yeah, it's steaming. I can see how hot it is. How about you? Are you hot? Are you
hot?
in the fiery inferno?
You're real hot.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god, what a treat. Hello, how you doing?
How are you all?
How are we on this fine December day?
Something. Monday. The 11th. We knew that, you see, because this isn't recorded miles in the past.
Yeah, this is so far in the past.
It's not so far, but it's on the 3rd of December.
It is, yeah. We mentioned it before. We are pre-recording quite a lot because it's important to us that we get something out for you guys because we know that this time of year can be a little bit stinky for people, and if we can give you at least some respite from that, we would really like to.
Some entertainment.
Yeah, some light family fun. Huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is family friendly. This shit. I swear.
Oh my god! What the? I was gonna swear that as well. Family friendly fun. So, yeah, we did that thing again where, because we only recorded yesterday for us, we updated you on like everything in our lives in the first episode. I'm trying to think. We're playing WoW Season of Discovery at the minute. The dog is being a demon. So that was
1 minute and 50 seconds.
1 minute and
well done, bully.
Little do you know, before we started recording, we sat down. He was in the front room giving it one, you know? So.
We were like, do you want to know what? We'll leave the front room open so he can wander into the front room.
Yeah.
Like I remember my brother came around for that one shot and he was just like, we were like blocking everywhere else so the dog could only be in the kitchen and nowhere else. Yeah. And he was just like, put him in the prison. And I was like, Dan, you don't understand.
You don't
like,
understand.
If we let this dog out of our sight for a second.
30 seconds. Yeah.
He will die.
Yeah.
He will do
perish.
something detrimental to himself. Like we let him in the front room just then. While we were just doing the thumbnails, immediately started spinning on his bum. Yeah, and now he's hurt his bum. Yeah, and it's just like
it's rinse and repeat.
I don't know if anybody else who has a bull terrier has this amount. It's unbelievable. You need to know where he is.
Yeah, at all times,
every second of the day.
The thing is, it's because he's getting older as well. Like,
is it?
I think he's gotten much worse in the past year, I would say. Yeah, just because his age, and he's getting a little bit scrungly. And he's the light of our life, but my God, does he make it hard to be productive?
It's because when we're working, it doesn't matter because he can just roam around underneath my feet and like I can fuss him and we can like talk and be together. But the moment where I can't like give him my 24/7 undivided attention every second of the day,
he's like, guess I'll die.
As soon as this like little steel fence is up, and he's 5 feet away from me instead of 2 feet away from me. He's like, well, you don't love me anymore.
That's the end then.
You don't love me anymore.
The end. Oh.
And now I need to spin on my bottom. I need to lick my feet so they bleed. I need to cry every second.
Anything else?
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
As soon as that thing goes up and that camera goes on,
he's like, well,
let's go. It's go time.
I know. I'm trying to think of anything else to update you guys on.
We got to level 13 and level 12 on Season of Discovery.
We did. Did we tell you? We tried to play League. Oh my God. Oh my God.
We'll tell you now though. We did try and play League of Legends and it was a fucking fiesta.
Last time we mentioned League of Legends, we were saying we were just thinking about it. Thank you so very much to everyone who reached out to me specifically saying, like, if you need a guide, like I can help you and I'll like walk you through the game. Like I really appreciate that. Little do you know, by the time that video had aired and the time that you had messaged us, we had tried League of Legends.
And it's not like we just went in on our own. We had friends who'd already played the game.
We had a 5-stack.
We had a 5-stack. And I think our issue was we tried to play bot lane together.
Yes.
And
having no idea
experience.
What we were doing at all.
Because, if you play, like, the thing is, if it's 1-on-1 and you get outskilled, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if it's 2-on-2 and the other two people are communicating, know how to, like...
competent duo.
Know how to, like synergize their two legends.
Yeah, awful.
And me and Margaret have...
awful.
No...
truly terrible.
Even iota of a fuck of what's going on.
Not a clue. Like, so we played bots, right? And the bots, obviously,
we
were
fucking
fine. The bots,
turbo shot on the bots.
when we were like, let's go into PvP, our friend Jord, who we were playing with, he was like, I do want to give you the heads up. I played bots for like 2 years before I went into PvP, and Jord is good at the game.
Yeah.
And he was like, just to give you the heads up, and we were like, nah, it's fine.
For me, as a person who's played many online games,
yeah,
I know that the only way that you will really ever get better
is by playing the people.
Is by playing the game properly and playing with the people.
Yeah. I wouldn't say PvP is the only way to play it properly. I think it's very valid playing bots.
If that's what you want to do, but that's not what I want to do.
Yeah, well,
that's the thing.
Did you have fun?
No,
me neither.
But I think
it was so horrible. How do you play that game?
But I think it's because we played bot lane together, and we don't know we don't know how to play the game.
Oh.
We don't really know how to play our classes.
Oh god!
And
I played Ashe.
Yeah, and I played
Leona.
Yeah, and I feel like I picked it. I feel like I picked the legend there that is very easy to get wrong.
Oh yeah, well, same. To be honest, same. And the thing is, the 3 people we played with, Jord, very experienced. Lynn has played it before, and Ratty P has also played it before, so they all kind of knew what they were doing, and they were like, don't get me wrong, our team got
absolutely fucking shut on in every lane.
Absolutely obliterated. But it's always because we lost bot lane, because we were in there not knowing what we were doing. How did you play this game?
Yeah,
and our friend Courtney, she's like a master at this game, and she's like, oh, did you win? No, Courtney, we didn't.
We didn't even get to kill.
Oh my god, it was awful. It was the worst. Guess we'll never play League of Legends ever again.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, I may play it again at some point, but at the minute, the new season of WoW came out.
Yeah.
And I've been playing that. Season of Discovery came out, and I've been hammering that.
Yeah.
And I still like playing Valorant.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I don't have enough, like, and my problem is when I get into something, I have to like learn how to play it.
Yeah.
I can't I can't fuck about and do this sort of like
getting cats.
No. But like, especially when you can't get cats in League of Legends. You can't get cats in Valorant. When I'm playing a game like that, I have to like learn.
Me desperately trying to think of any cats I could possibly think of.
Like, I have to learn how to like be as good as I can possibly be.
Yeah, I get that.
And I just have no brain space for that right now.
I
agree. Maybe in the future.
Yeah. No, not for me. Not my type of game. And you know what? I knew that it probably wouldn't be. And you could argue I didn't give it a fair chance, and that's fair.
I will come back to it in the future. I will. Margaret?
Yeah. Anyway, let's get on to topic. So, this is actually going to be a really long episode. So, today we are going to roll the new Homebrew challenge, and we are also reading out the winners for the festive shield. We normally would have done this on Thursday. However, we don't normally read the winners out on like a horror and wholesome video, which tend to be longer anyway. So we're just melding it into this, and watch this video be 3 hours long.
No, it won't. Do you want to roll it first?
Yeah, let's roll it first.
Have you got the list?
Yes, I've got the list. So if you don't know what the Homebrew Challenge is, just a really brief, watch this be the most convoluted thing you've ever heard.
The Homebrew Challenge is a theme, which is currently festive.
Yep.
And we roll a dice to pick a item, spell, something like that you have to homebrew in our Discord.
Yep.
Head to the Discord and head down to the Homebrew forum, and pop your submissions in there. We're about to roll a new one, so you can take part.
This is the last of festive.
The last of the festive.
This is the last of festive, and the winners will get read out on the podcast. We have 2 runners-up and 1 winner. I don't know who's rolling this.
Me.
Is it?
No, it's
cocked. Oh my god, no, it's
you
cocked.
You have to roll it now.
Me roll it? Do you wanna pick it on the thing? Right, okay. You ready? Oh my god, you didn't ask them to kiss it.
Kiss it.
That's why.
Thank
you. Mwah. Right, you ready?
Right, what can't we have? We can't have a spell.
The dog thought we were kissing at him.
Oh dear. We can't have a spell and we can't have a shield.
Yeah. You ready?
Go.
Oh, 18.
Monster.
Oh, a festive monster. A festive monster. Oh no.
That's sick.
I know that is quite cool. Have you watched Black Sheep? Is that what it was called? Black Christmas?
Black Christmas.
Black Christmas, and it has the killer sheep in it?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, well.
You could have like could be Krampus.
Yeah, it could be Krampus.
Could be like evil elves. Could be evil Santa.
Kringle.
Could be Kringle himself. Could be like the Abominable Snowman.
Yeah.
so many different things.
And again, we have an optional template that you can use. It will just kind of give you the prompts, but you can write these however you want.
With a monster, you don't have to have a stat block.
Yeah. If you want to do a stat block, you can. If not, you don't have to.
But stat block and law as well if you want.
Yeah,
it's up to you.
Absolutely, completely up to you. These will close. Submissions close on a
week from today. It's the 11th today, right?
The 18th of December. Submissions will close, and the winners are going to be read out on our Christmas episode.
Hey, Christmas.
No, God, no. Speaking of which, let's do the wieners. For a festive shield. These were, I mentioned this in the last episode. I read some of these as they came in. These were all so good. What did you say to me earlier?
So I read through them all this morning to pick the wieners. And this, and I know we say it all the time that it's very tough. Hands down, without a doubt, the hardest one I've ever picked.
Yeah, I bet.
I almost couldn't pick.
I know, I bet.
It was so close. There are so many in here that were potential winners, potential runners-up, potential everything. So everyone who entered this one, well done, because this was fucking rock hard.
Phenomenal. Really, really good.
Unbelievably hard.
I watched like the first handful come in and I was like, I don't know how we're going to pick these. I really don't know how we're going to pick from these. And in fact, so much so, this one, we actually have 3 runners up.
Yeah, we have 3 runners up. We have an honourable mention.
We have an honourable mention because it's really good.
It was just very funny.
It was just really good.
So there was just like, if Margaret had read them and picked, she might have picked 3 different ones because there was easily.
They were incredible.
Multiple
definitely.
Great ones.
Look at you. Look at you.
Talented.
So incredibly talented.
Stop being so talented.
Stop it. Please. Give me some, please.
Give me some talent.
So, let's go from runners up to the winner.
The winner.
I'm assuming you've put these on, so the first one I read is...
Yes, that's how I put it on.
Okay. So, this first runner-up for a festive shield has been sent in by Spartan0325, and his pronouns are he, him.
Thank you, Spartan0325.
Thank you so much, Spartan. Now, the name of the shield is Shield of the Last Santa. It is a legendary +1 shield, and it requires attunement. So the special features are, it increases your AC by 3.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
So, by the way, so many people in this one, because last time we did a shield, I was like, is that on top of the +2 that you already get from the shield? So many people were like, this is on top of the +2 that you get from the shield.
Yeah.
Just to make sure.
So, 1d8 plus strength modifier, bludgeoning damage melee attack must be non-lethal, or else the attunement will be lost permanently. I like that.
The bonus action attack is just so strong.
I like that. Spell attacks equal a number of times to your proficiency modifier. Any creature of your choice within 5 feet makes a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the target rolls a d4 and gains the corresponding condition. 1, sleep. The target feels incredibly full after a great but very heavy meal. 2, blind. The target is blinded by flashing red and green lights. 3, prone. The target is struck with a powerful need to dance, but lose their footing and fall. And 4, charmed. The target holds out their hand and looks to you expectantly as if they are waiting for you to give them something. Me!
Give it to me! Give me
the sword!
Gift. Give me the sword.
Give me the sword.
Give me the sword.
That's a deep cut.
That's a deep cut.
So the description. A simple round shield with coloured bands that alternate from red to green to red, from the edge of the shield to the centre where this is the impression of a pair of bells. The lore. The legend of this item began with an adventurer from long ago. His true name has been lost to history, but it is known that he came from a small northern village named Christmas. The village's inhabitants would celebrate its founding annually with a festival of the same name. For several days and nights, the people would eat to their heart's content, then dance and ring bells with great joy, while wizards would conjure balls of red and green lights and let them float throughout the village. On the last night, the adults would buy presents, and one person was chosen to travel from house to house and deliver these presents to the children, and the title for their night would be Santa. One year, a young man from the village was chosen to be Santa, but during that night of gift-giving, the town was raided. Very few survived. One survivor, the young Santa, sought vengeance in blood at first, but was reminded that this wasn't their way. So instead, he sought out a wizard to help him build a weapon that would not take life, but could instead use his village's customs to incapacitate those that sought to do harm against others. So the wizard created a shield that could do just that. With this new shield, the young man set out. After many long years, he brought the people that destroyed his home to justice. The man who became known as the Last Santa retired from the adventuring life and gifted the shield to another that sought true humane justice. He explained to her that so long as she never used the shield to take a life, its power would be hers. And when she felt that she was done, she would need to gift the shield to someone else. And so she did. And this is Spartan's first submission. This is my first submission. If I'm missing anything, please no. I don't think so. I think that was absolutely perfect.
That was very good.
Oh, I love that.
A sweet, humble story.
Oh, I really love the kind of retelling of Christmas as you know it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a town and everyone gathers presents and one person has to deliver them. Oh, I love that.
And that's where like Santa came from.
Oh, I really, really love that.
Cute, that isn't it?
That's really cute. That's really sweet.
And I like the values of like non-lethal damage. And
I like that as well.
Lethal damage, you would just immediately unattune to it.
I like that too.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I really like that. And the shield's stonking as well. Like being able to do those things and getting the AC as well. That's a great one. I love that.
The story was the reason I picked it, to be honest.
Me too. Thank you, Spartan. Okay. Sorry. The next runner-up. God, let me see if I can remember how to say this. This is Chocha Sammy.
Chocha Sammy.
Yeah. Congrats, Chocha. And they use any and all pronouns. The name of this shield is the Wintry White Wall.
Very good.
Wintry.
Wintry Wall.
Wintry White Wall.
It may be Wintry White Wall, but it says Wintry White Wall.
Goodness gracious me, I'm sorry. It is a +2 shield. It is very rare and it requires attunement. So some of the features are bulletproof blizzard. Oh no, I've scrolled up.
No!
Bulletproof blizzard. Whilst wearing this shield, you gain resistance to all cold damage and you are not affected by environmental effects caused by extreme cold. If you are dealt cold damage as a reaction, you can grant temporary hit points equal to half, rounded down, to the damage dealt to all allies within 60 feet. This ability restores the next time the wielder spends a hearty and joyous feast with family and friends. The next is Aura of Joyous. This shield creates an aura of soothing and jovial thoughts, creating a constant faint smell of freshly baked cinnamon bread and sounds of merry laughing. As a bonus action, you can grant all allies within 30 feet of you 1d8 that they can add to any roll of their choice. A creature with one of these die can choose to give their die to another ally, passing it along to them via a warm and loving hug. Alternatively, you can make the shield's aura become overbearing, and all creatures within 15 feet of you must make a DC 18 wisdom saving throw or be deafened by the cheering and cannot focus on anything apart from memories of loving Yuletide communities as they fill their minds, and they suffer from 2d12 psychic damage.
Yeah.
And for the next minute, they have disadvantage on all rolls and are considered deafened. A creature can attempt to make this saving throw again at the end of the turn. The ability is restored when the wielder is alone in a comfortable place, reflecting on their joyous memories. I love the idea of just reflecting on overstimulating parts of Christmas and just getting psychic damage.
Yeah.
If that's not so relatable, I don't know what is.
Very relatable.
And then the lore. The great hero Fervum Cloudstorm once wielded the mighty wintry white wall, a shield seemingly built from the pure white sheets of snow of the northern tundra, with a golden head of an ibex shaped onto its front. There are many tales of Fervum's battles. Once he faced down an entire horde of hobgoblins single-handedly, or when he defeated the bitter dragon Frostmaw. But to his small village of Vainmare, Fervum's most... Fervum's most memorable deeds were his time at the feasts, having the loudest laugh amongst the orchestral merriment, or when he helped guide a troop of young frost giants through the mountains, or his greatest defeat of Archmage Thalazar, of which he simply treated him with kindness and let a smile form on his face for the first time in a long while. Even in the coldest of winters, Fervum Cloudstorm kept the village warm by mere optimism. And now, decades after his death, with Vainmere's growing influence, the wintry white wall bounds its wielder to the ever-burning heart of Vainmere. All the memories of joy a wielder experiences becomes collected in the shield for the next hero of Vainmere to experience.
Good that, innit?
Oh, I love that.
I like it mechanically as well. I think it's really good mechanically, and the story is obviously just fantastic.
I feel like I stumbled through that whole thing.
No, you did really well. You did really well.
Oh, man.
You did very well.
Oh, I really love that.
It's nice, isn't it?
My favorite part is just being nice to someone. I'm
so upset.
Man, I spent so long on my makeup today.
It looks really good.
Thank you. I tried to go for like a red Christmassy thing. I'm aware you probably can't see it very well.
I think they can. Close your eyes.
If I close my eyes, my tears are gonna fall.
No.
No.
Dry those eyes.
Goodness
Dry
me.
your eyes,
Oh
mate.
no. I don't know if you could see. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Chocha Sammy.
Great. It was fantastic.
What a wonderful, wonderful law. Man, I love that. And I just, once again, taking psychic damage. That's the most relatable thing I've ever read, to be honest with you. So this is the third runner-up. This is the honorable mention because it was too good not to mention.
Too good not to mention. Little funny one.
This has been sent in by Wabs. This is our friend Wabs. He's one of our IRL friends and a wonderful dude. And
Yeah,
a
very
great
nice guy.
D&D player.
Yeah.
And his shield is called Gnarly Sled.
The Gnarly Sled.
Law on the eve of Frostfest, the man known as Chris Mass and his wife, Carol, of the Bells, realized they hadn't gotten their son anything for Frostfest. The son had taken a vow of silence and had worked his way to a knight of the realm, known as the Silent Knight. Oh my god. Oh my god. Desperate for a gift, the parents met up with their son's friend, a skateboarder called Boney Long. Together, they merged their son's passions of fighting and tearing it up, creating the Gnarly Sled. Visual description: the sled is made out of wood slats with sharp ice blue rungs. The wood is painted black with orange graffiti flames.
That's cool.
The effect: the Gnarly Sled is a +1 shed and possesses the following effects. Cart usage: if not equipped, the sled can be used as a cart carrying equipment. The cart can also carry 1 medium-sized creature or 2 small ones, if used this way, and the sled must be emptied before it can be equipped. Rip it! You can activate the sled as a bonus action when in snowy terrain. When you do throw the sled onto the ground and ride it, while doing so you lose the bonus to your armor. You gain 50 feet of movement speed, but the movement must be in a straight line. If you are proficient with shields, you may stand on the sled. If not proficient, you must go prone while riding. While riding the sled, your mad skills with a Z cause enemies to have disadvantage to hit you as you zip past, and you can make attacks as normal during this movement. At the end of the run, as a free action, you can kick the front of the sled where it pops up, it does a flip, and it re-equips itself. Hell yeah! I see blades. The blades on the sled can actually deal damage. When used as an attack, they deal 2d4 plus strength cold damage, and the shield can be used as an offhand weapon. And complicated structure. The ruts on the blades make a perfect weapon trap. If an attack misses by more than 5, you can use your reaction to disarm the weapon using the attacks, using the disarm rules in the Battle Master maneuvers. You know what got me? The Silent Knight.
The Silent Knight. Took a vow of silence, and he's now known in the realm as the Silent Knight.
I feel like this is just this just sums up Wabs perfectly, doesn't it, really?
Very, very well.
Yeah.
Very good, Wabs. Thank you very much.
Chris Mass. Thank you, Wabs. That's a good one. That's a good, funny, silly one.
Now the wiener.
The wiener.
The wiener.
So the winner of a festive shield is Julian/Red Eye Fire, and his pronouns are he, him. Thank you.
You will see very quickly why I picked this because, you're all extremely creative, but when you are creative and you do this, it's very impressive to me.
Okay, understood. So the name is Saw Sharif. Backstory: to her, my majesty, the queen of air and darkness. Dearest cousin, I hope your turn on the cycle of seasons has not yet been too stressful. However, for you, I imagine your days are quite restful. I give you a gift of our seasons. Why am I ruining this?
You've got this.
I give you a gift of our seasons. To celebrate the howling moon, winter shield, and grand revel, we toast to all those reasons. She's adorned with the sweetest berries in our spring garden, red ribbons laced in the twining tree branches and prickled leaves that have hardened. Though you may cover the land in a blanket of white snow, trees of evergreen shall still grow. Yours truly, Saoirse, the Leaf Maiden.
When it's as descriptive as that, as festive as that, and it rhymes.
And I know. I'm
fucking
aware.
hell.
I stumbled over my words a little bit there.
It's okay.
Wow.
You still got it.
I you know
fucking
what?
Hell.
I've never understood people who can make things rhyme. Like in general, you know, when we had the Sphinx and we had to do how.
I mean, you did very well.
Wrong. Everyone else did it for me.
You went first though.
True.
So,
blind panic.
So you got the short end of the stick.
I really don't know how
Matthew
people...
sat there and wrote it while everyone else did his. So I think he got the best end of the stick.
I just don't know how people make things rhyme. Oh, how beautiful! How
Unreal,
wonderfully written, Julian. Oh my
God!
Yeah.
It's not only, but the thing is, it's like you get lost in the rhymes a little bit. You get lost in the sauce of the rhymes, but when you have to break it down, like,
yeah.
And then what it does, like the thematics of what it does after reading the description is very good.
So the description of the actual shield. This ring of pine bristles and bright red berries will wrap around its user's shield arm, leaving them snug and in its thick branches. Bristles and bears are constantly growing, giving off the scent of a white mist, and the flavor of sweet syrupy sap. The bright red ribbons wrapping around the donut hole seem to have a mind of their own as they blow in the wind of a winter's day. So the stats are, it has an AC of +2, it is uncommon and it requires attunement, and the shield has 3 charges per day that reset every dawn. And these charges can be used to cast Goodberry, Entangle, and for 2 charges, Spiked Growth. Oh, I think that's perfect, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a perfect.
It rhymes, it's very festive, and it uses 3 spells that are basically perfect.
Yeah. How
Unreal.
Wonderful. How absolutely
Unreal.
wonderful.
Well done, Julian.
Honestly, I really don't know how you have the forethought to be able to think of those things. Like, what part do you start with?
You got to start with the rhyme, I think.
Like, do you know what I mean?
You
like,
gotta
where
start
do
with the
you
rhyme.
like? But then, how do you so perfectly get Goodberry, Entangle, and Spike Growth? You know what I mean?
Don't know, but like that's why it's the winner this week.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's very, very, very well thought out.
There's a lot of moving parts to that.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
Very
Congratulations,
good.
Julian.
Well done, Julian.
Thank you
well
so
done.
much. And again, as you can tell from the caliber of all of these, this was so hard to pick from.
Unfucking fathomably hard.
Yeah.
There's so many people who could have won this week, but I had to just make a decision.
Yeah, I know,
it took me ages to do that.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And if you are inspired by that, I know I am. The Homebrew Challenge for Festive Monster is up until next Monday, the 18th of December. So get your submissions in and we'll read them.
A festive monster, so it could just be a creature. It could be good aligned.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a monster, bad, naughty, nasty monster.
Totally, yeah.
It could be a good monster.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
You guys love to think outside of the box.
Yeah.
You're great at that. So get them in and we'll read them on our Christmas episode.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, show. Man. So, shall we get into the topic today? We are doing unpopular D&D opinions.
We are doing unpopular D&D opinions.
Sometimes we call it D&D hot takes. Sometimes we call it unpopular D&D opinions. Who knows?
We call it unpopular D&D opinions most of the time.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. As we say at the beginning of all of these things, just because we think these are unpopular doesn't mean that you have the right to disagree.
Don't have the right to disagree.
You don't have the right to disagree.
It doesn't matter if you agree with these or disagree with these. It's just a bit of fun.
Yeah, totally.
If you agree with these opinions and we disagree, it doesn't mean you're wrong and we're right.
Absolutely. What works for your table works for your table.
That's
and
the point of the opinion.
Don't let 2 idiots on the internet tell you otherwise.
Unless they're hateful.
Unless they're hateful
then
and
they
toxic.
are wrong.
Then they are wrong. Yeah, of course. So shall we just get into it?
Go.
We have a couple of submissions. Thank you to everyone who sends these submissions in. I know it's a little bit hard sending in your unpopular opinions or your hot take opinions, but it's just good fun. So send them in. If you have any, send them in. We have a submission form. Send them in. We are at a huge cry for advice and horror stories. So if you have anything, submit.
Anything. Submit down below at the in the doc.
Okay, so this has been sent in by Oswin, and they go by they them.
Thank you, Oswin, for your submission.
I love that name, Oswin. Yeah, I love that.
Good.
They have also left in the name part. I love your podcast. Thank you so much, Oswin. Thank you.
We love you for being here.
We sure do.
I want to say something first.
What?
Oh my god! Just quickly.
What?
On TikTok,
yes,
we have reached over 1 million likes.
Oh my god! Isn't that unbelievable?
I know that it's likes and it's not followers or whatever, but the fact that we've reached over a number of 1 million of anything,
by the way,
fucking wild.
Anything wild. That's kind of unfathomable.
We're actually at 1.1 million
unfathomable
already.
That's
which
insane.
Is just crazy.
I don't understand that in the slightest.
Like when you start like YouTube channels, like as soon as you see like any social media, as soon as you see the 1 million
scary
thing, you're just like,
yeah, unbelievable. That I know.
1 million people. 1 million.
1 million people have perceived us.
Have seen our faces and gone,
weird.
Yes.
Weird.
I like that.
Scary.
1.1 million.
So if you're one of them,
thank you
so much. Thank you.
That's fucking
that's
wild.
Unbelievable. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank
truly.
you so much. Sorry, Karen.
Okay, Oswin. I don't know if this would be considered a hot take or anything, but I'll throw it out there anyway.
Go for it.
I play one-on-one sessions with my dad where he's the DM and I'm the only player a lot. I know a lot of people prefer big groups, but scheduling that stuff is so hard and I'm a pretty introverted person. It's also nice to hang out with my dad, you know? Anyway, what I think is so great about this style of D&D is that I get to construct the world of the campaign as well. When your whole D&D campaign is just a conversation between you and your DM, there's not really limit to what you can describe and what you suggest as long as you're not taking over. Also, I'm trying to get better at DMing, and just getting to be part of world building in a very safe environment like this is super helpful. Plus, it's just me and my dad, so there's no miscommunication. I highly recommend this format, especially if you want to pause the whole game to geek out about something random that came up in the conversation. Me and my dad accidentally stopped playing and talked about etymology, ETYMOLOGY for like 15 minutes.
Don't know what that is.
But I'm probably reading that horribly.
See, the thing is, right? Sorry. I think that people don't even realize that this is a thing.
I agree. I think people don't realize that
one-on-one DMing and playing
is a thing.
Is a thing.
Totally.
I have never personally experienced it.
Yeah.
I feel like I would probably enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about doing something like this, haven't we? Well, I mentioned it and you went, "Oh, it's a bit weird," and then we
yeah, because it was ages ago. But I just don't know how it would. I just don't know how it would take shape.
But the thing is, you wouldn't know until you actually.
I think you would just have to give it a go.
Yeah, on like you looked at like the structure of it, or like the rules of it, I guess, because there is so many like duo systems out there, and like
there's loads.
Like they're out, loads. They have to. I mean, as Oswin's saying here, I also love the fact, Oswin, that you're playing with your dad.
Yeah, that's
I love
so
that.
cool.
I really like that.
Yeah, and I just think that this probably isn't an unpopular thing. I think it is an unpopular thing because people don't realize
know
it's
about
a thing.
It. Yeah,
but I think that so many people would actually have a really great experience. Yeah, we hear all those stories about like partners, like girlfriends and boyfriends and stuff like that.
Yeah, like you'd be better off just playing like, just you two.
You clearly just want to like have fun together.
Play with each other.
So just do that instead of like ruining the game for everyone else.
Totally.
So I think there's so many people who would actually really enjoy this.
I agree. I don't think this is a hot take at all. You know, I think, to be honest, I have the same reservations as you, being like, how would that go? But you wouldn't know until you actually do it, would you?
Yeah, I think you would have to like trial and error some things as you go.
Totally.
And I think what you would have to do is honestly just go for this.
Yeah.
And see how it turns out.
Totally. Because, give it a good try and see.
Yeah, I think it would be really good.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like that we could make a really cool world.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And I feel like the player obviously
would have a huge part in it, right?
Like a large part in the world building.
It would be it would be more like a 50-50 split. Obviously, when it's like DM in a group, but I don't know. I would argue that the players also have a big part in the world regardless. So I can imagine this. And, I guess this kind of feeds into the conversation of like group sizes too. Because I know the standard is like 5 to 6, right? Like, whereas we played with a 3 and the 3 was great.
Yeah, we like a small, we do like a smaller group size.
Yeah. And, we play in 4 now, which, I think is better than 3 because it's more balanced. But even having a fifth, I think, would be way too much for us. Yeah.
We had a fifth, and it didn't really feel any different.
No, it didn't, did it? It didn't.
So I think as long as we're sticking it around that 3 to 5 area, I think we're okay.
I agree.
But yeah, like I think that when you play in a 2, like just DM and player, I think the role play and the world building and the storytelling will absolutely take forefront.
I completely agree.
And I think there's so many people who would much prefer that because
me too.
There's a lot of people who don't really care.
Yeah,
for
me
combat.
too. I feel like this would be very story driven, very like conversation driven.
Yeah.
I think very like finding out information and seeking out information. Do you know what I mean?
You know, it's like when you watch like certain like fantasy movies, there is always like one. I know Fellowship of the Ring and Lord of the Rings and that is a different thing altogether because that's like a group of people. But you know, like when we watch like Green Knight or whatever it was called,
yes,
that was
it
just
follows
one
protagonist. Yeah.
And there's a lot of times in fantasy where it is just a single hero.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like Bilbo, when he did the Hobbit series. Yeah, he had other people around him, but it was centered on him.
Agreed.
And I think you could probably get a lot of that experience out of something like this.
I agree very much so. Thank you so much, Oswin.
Thank you, Oswin.
Yeah, I absolutely completely agree.
I think.
Yeah. And, you know, again, trying to wanting to understand more about DMing and world building. Yeah. And
you're definitely gonna get that out of this, I think.
And the fact that you feel so safe and comfortable with your dad is wonderful.
Man, and being able to just have like quality time with your dad.
With your dad.
And just play D&D.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many things that are better.
Agreed. Very much so agreed.
That's sick.
All right. So this next one has been sent in by Anonymous and he goes by he, him.
Thank you, Anonymous, for your submission.
Thank you, Anonymous. This is a partial hot take and a partial request for advice as someone who isn't sure how to implement it.
Okay.
So here's the clickbait. Underage characters, and whether they are allowed or not, only seem to matter when they're human. As we all know, PCs playing underage characters bring a whole new challenge to the table. You suddenly have to worry a lot more about storytelling implications, character decisions and behaviors, player comfort levels, and a further extended list of issues that will arise as you go.
Mm-hmm.
As a DM, I agree with you, and I would just rule no underage characters are allowed at the table. However, it only seems to matter for the human characters, or more generally, any race that has a human equivalent lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
Elves, half-elves, gnomes, dwarves, and any other long-lived race kind of get a pass. What is the guideline for what is considered underage for a longer-lived race, and how that should come into play? For example, a 30-year-old human getting drunk and visiting all the brothels in town is generally fine. But would it be the same for a 30-year-old elf? Taking it even further, how does world building look? If a life sentence for a human and a life sentence for the elf are the same amount of time, if they would go to prison, what would that look like? Much love to you all. Love the podcast and all the information you guys share. Thank you, Anonymous.
So the reason we do this is because we do be humans.
Boo.
We are humans.
Boo.
So we like when we're relating like in-game age for humans, it's very easy to comprehend for us because that's exactly our life. Like as soon as you get over like 18, 20, you're into the safe ages.
Yeah, we can understand. We can like comprehend the life of a human life.
So if you just want to say it's up to you. Like if you want to get into the itty gritties of it, you can take a human lifespan, equate it to an elf's lifespan, do the division, and then be like, oh, they become of age at X age, and you can't be younger than that because we don't allow any young. You can do all that for each race if you want to take the time to do it. Totally fine. And it doesn't mean you're old if you're an 80-year elf because you aren't. You're probably just a young adult. Or whatever it is. Yeah. And it's the same with, like you said, gnomes and like furbolgs and things like that.
Yeah.
So you can do that if you want to do the mathematics about it. Totally fine. In terms of things like life sentences, you can do the same. If you go life sentences and just be like, I equate them to the lifespan of the person.
Like, you have to think, if that was something in real life, there would be different terms for different races.
100%.
You know what I mean? It would have to be the equivalent.
Yeah.
I would assume.
But at the same time, I don't think anyone would blame you if you just went, as long as you're over like 20, it's fine.
Yeah.
No one, like, we aren't going to be like, oh, but elf is like this and you're technically underage. If you just say like, no underage characters, we don't even have to put a number on it if you don't want. I'm a young adult. I'm the elf equivalent of 30. If you don't want to put an actual age on it, you don't have to.
I think that's it. I think it's saying like, oh, I'm the equivalent of this age.
Yeah, I'm the equivalent of a human at 25. Yeah.
But what do you think? I agree. I do very much agree. Like underage characters really only seems to matter when it comes to humans. But I think that's because that's only what we can perceive,
we're
right?
Human, and like our brains can't be asked to do the actual mathematics of
can't
like
perceive anything else.
Where are you technically older than that?
Yeah, totally.
But then it comes down to like, because elves live so long, they are seen as wiser and more mature. Their coming of age might come earlier. Yeah. Like, and that's just up to your world building.
Yeah, and you know what? To actually really get into it, I think it also depends how like the developmental part of each race comes into play.
Yes.
And it depends how the passage of time happens in the world too. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. In our world, we have 365 days a year and that never changes. Mm-hmm. So if an elf were to live for 600 years, let's say, in our world, yes, they would still be of age when they reached like 21, because the way time goes in our world. Because time is relevant, if that makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Time is relevant. So I feel like that's a tough one. That's a really tough one, actually.
It's completely up to you, though. If it was me, like, I don't really, like, because I just fucking hate child characters.
Yeah, me too.
Because, like, it comes down to... and that's not saying that you can't run a child character.
No, God,
like,
no, of course
I know
not.
that so many people are like, I fucking missed out on my childhood. So being able to play like a younger character and relive that,
understand.
Totally fine.
Yeah, I understand.
The way that my campaigns go, they're very fucking serious.
Yes.
There's none of that fucking sexual fucking bullshit going on in my games because I fucking don't like it. There's just loads of death.
Yeah.
There's loads of fighting. You're in trouble all the time. There's politics. And I don't want, like, you aren't making political fucking decisions when you're 18.
Yeah, so, and like, I feel like it just muddies the water. It does for genuinely all the reasons that OP said 100%. Here. Honestly, like, I have no problem with child characters. They're just not there's just not a place for them in your world.
Yeah, not in my world.
Yeah, and I understand that the player isn't underage, but like it still makes me uncomfortable. It still makes me very. It makes me uncomfortable
too, and that's why we just don't allow it. Yeah. But to me, if you can't be asked to do the maths,
just say the equivalent.
Just say the human age equivalent.
Just say the equivalent,
because nobody really cares, and if you care, totally fine.
Yeah.
But just get the lifespan of a human, apply it to every other character, and do the division.
Yeah, I don't.
It's not massively hard.
Do you feel like that's a hot take? You know what? I feel like it might be because people probably just don't consider it.
People just don't consider it. Yeah,
like,
people. Yeah. It's true. Like we just say about like 18, 20, 16, whatever ages.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, an elf wouldn't technically be.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Then time is relevant. Yeah. So then.
Yeah, I know. I like that one, OP.
It's good.
I like that one.
It's a brain tickler.
That's a good one. What do you guys think? What do you reckon?
What do you think?
What do you think? Well, how would you do it? How do you do it?
I'd
like to know. How do you do?
Because do you want to know what? If you do the maths and stuff like that, as I do. If you do the maths, fucking.
Good on you.
Good on you.
Because I'm not.
Can't be asked. Okay. I'm good at maths as well, and I still can't be bothered.
Yeah, no, and me too.
Oh yeah, you're
really
great
good
at
maths.
So good at maths.
Really good at maths.
The best, actually.
I can do long division.
Can you?
No, I don't even know what long division means. What's long division?
I don't know. Isn't long division it's when you've got the tick with the thing across?
Oh, bloody hell.
And then long division is just like a way of dividing. Yep. If you can't do it mentally, the numbers are too big, then you do long division.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how I do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
This next one's sent in by V.
By V.
And she goes by she, her.
Thank you, V.
I actually don't know if V is her name. I don't know. It was in the named thing, but it's just the letter V in lowercase.
Somebody might just like to be called V.
True. I mean, true. So, this unpopular opinion is DMPCs are fine as long as they're run Baldur's Gate 3 style. I wouldn't use them for a normal D&D campaign, but I recently started DMing. I didn't have time for a full-time commitment because of school, and my boyfriend suggested I run a smaller one-on-one campaign for him so we could reschedule whenever. I know.
Everyone's on one-on-ones. Let's go.
I know there are a lot of systems for TTRPGs, but we know D&D, and I didn't want to check any other systems.
Fair.
It started with just his character and one companion I gave him, a cleric, so it wouldn't be so hard on him. The NPC is part of the story and everything, but he makes all the decisions and gets all the spotlight. Any situation where she would really shine, i.e. some reveal about her backstory, he's shining too. because all the interactions are with him after all. He started wanting to recruit more people to fill his crew. He's playing a pirate. So I started making more companions, and now it's basically Baldur's Gate. He controls most of these NPCs in combat, with some exceptions if appropriate, and has access to the sheets with their secrets hidden in my notes. He equips them with whatever he wants, and they mostly just follow along. I never run a scene with just NPCs. Plus, I've made them all connected to the story I built around his backstory, and it's been working great.
There you go. Fine.
There you go.
Absolutely
yeah,
fine.
There you go.
Like, I've ran NPCs before.
Yeah, you have.
And they're usually to serve a purpose of, like,
yes,
guiding you somewhere.
Definitely. Getting, like, a part of the arc done.
New zone.
Yeah.
This person's going to help you.
Yes.
Something like that. They don't take up much spotlight. They're usually, like, like a couple of episodes or a couple of sessions.
Yeah.
And then their arc is finished.
Totally.
You usually get extremely attached to them. And, you know, you want to help them because they have, like, something that they want to overcome. And there's a reason they want to come on the adventure with you. And, you know, like, I usually run them in combat. But there's a lot of times where I just, if there's too many, I just give them out to you guys.
Yeah,
with,
that's
like,
it.
their own character sheets.
I feel like, again, you hear so many horror stories with DMPCs, right? And I think that's because the DMPCs you hear about are a DM who just wants to be a player and just might as well write a story and makes it all about them.
Like,
I
if the
think
DMPC's hogging the spotlight, like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's if it's all about them,
totally.
Then
what's the point?
What's the fucking point?
But, you know, at the same time, maybe I'm just biased because of the way you run DMPCs. We haven't met a single DMPC that you ran that we haven't immediately become very fond of and wanted the best for and wanted to interact with. And if there were to be, like, a spotlight on them, I think we would all be really happy for that.
Yeah, and
do you know what I mean?
99% of the time when I run a DMPC, they're silent most of the time until they are needed.
Until
ask
they're
the question.
Needed. Yeah.
Until, like, there is, like, something that they actually need to do.
Yeah.
They're just there with you.
Yeah.
And
I think
it's usually because they have a story purpose.
And you know what? Most of the time, when they are interacting, it's because we've gone to them being like, hello.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like, do you remember Father Stannis?
Yes.
Like, Father Stannis was a DMPC.
Yeah.
And he was, like, crucial to that plot point.
Yes.
And he was, like, it needed to be there.
Yeah.
But most of the time, he was just
there.
Yeah. Until he was needed.
Agreed.
Narratively or in combat for any reason.
So I completely agree with V. I think there is absolutely the right way to do a DMPC.
And that's it.
And this is it. And the way you do it as well is right. I think DMPCs are not something you should immediately be like, ugh, about. I don't
think so, because usually they're there for a purpose.
Yeah.
This is, like, the way that your partner gets to pick their equipment, pick the spells and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a one-on-one, there's probably a lot of time where you do have a bit of downtime, so you're like, okay,
totally.
I'm going to take this spell and I'm going to equip them. Can they get studded leather and stuff like that? And that feels cool.
Yeah, definitely.
You probably couldn't do that so much in a group, but on a one-on-one, when you're, like, gearing up for an adventure and getting your party ready, that sounds sick.
I agree. I very much agree.
And tying them all into the story, tying them all into your, like partner's backstory, that sounds great.
Yeah,
that sounds
completely agree.
Sick.
I really agree.
Unreal.
Totally. What do you think about the take that DMPCs are fine? I think that's unpopular.
I think DMPCs are fine if you know how to run them.
Agreed.
And there is a fine line.
There is a fine line.
And if you don't know, they can be real fucking stinky.
And if your party don't buy in, then that's really stinky as well.
Yeah.
Like thankfully we've always bought in with all of your.
Really have many last campaign.
Dagmar.
He never came along.
He never came along.
You had to rescue him.
Yeah, Igvilf.
Igvilf never came along.
Yeah, she did in the fight with Ezra.
She did come along. That was one session.
One fight for her dragon.
One session,
to be fair,
for a dragon that was her best friend.
Yeah, no, it was definitely there was like Rethio is the main one that stands out to me from campaign 1. But yeah, like I think DMPCs really genuinely are not something that immediate alarm bells should go off for.
Yeah,
I really
as long as they are not the main fucking focus 24/7.
Yeah,
and they are mostly in the background until they are needed narratively and things like that. Yeah, I think they're totally fine.
Agreed. Thank you so much for your submissions.
Thank you.
Now we go to the Reddit.
I'm interested to hear what the first one is.
Yeah, well, it needs to be less inclusive.
Great.
Seriously.
Perfection.
It's so mainstream now that everyone and their mums are talking about it. throwing around terms like Nat 20 and initiative. It used to be a place for ostracized nerds to get away from the world. And now the whole goddamn world has followed us in. Wizards of the Coast should reincorporate Thack Zero to turn people off from playing.
Zero.
It's that fucking awful, terrible, in my opinion, way of having to build out a character with like completely numerical stats. Like you had to get like spreadsheets and everything like that for it. Terrible, awful, terrible. I would hate it. And that is just such a gatekeeper system to want to use.
It's just such bullshit.
I'm so bored of gatekeepers, man.
There is numerous things wrong with this.
Yeah.
So like it's too inclusive.
Okay. Oh God, imagine making people feel comfortable.
Imagine hating everyone so much that you just want them to have a bad time so they don't play your game.
Imagine the focus of a game not being on a cis white man.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Like, inclusivity is amazing. Like making sure that everyone is uncomfortable, everyone is like
inclusivity has to be a thing.
Everyone is represented.
Yeah.
Like I don't the argument of like I remember somebody said it to me not long ago. I can't remember who it was. I heard the fucking take of like, God, every Disney movie now just has to have someone black in it, and I'm just like,
come on, yeah, like, because black people don't exist.
But it's like, but you wouldn't be saying that if it was a white person.
Yeah, I know.
So what's the? And I think the take came from a white person.
Yeah, it came. Yeah,
and I'm just like,
a white person.
Like that's because you have always seen yourself.
Yeah, you've never
in
had
everything.
You've never had to double take it.
You're so upset that you don't see yourself.
I know.
But this person who's never been represented, seeing themselves is like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I know. Oh my God, I'm actually represented.
I fucking despise.
I know, me
like,
too.
if you just want things to be less inclusive so less people take part, you're a fucking fool.
Really think about why you want that. Really think about why in your life you feel like everything has to be about you.
Like, when it comes down to the game system being like dumbed down so more people come in, like, it's not that I understand that, but like liking something because it's complex, I totally get that.
No, I get that too. Like, I do get that.
That is fine. Like, I understand that it's like the same with World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Like people, like there was no fucking information back in the day. Mm-hmm. Now everything's readily available and super easy, and that's why people don't like it as much. Like, I get that.
I get it. But at the same time, no one is forcing you to play like this.
Yeah.
If you want to play Thack Zero, go ahead.
Like, no one's making you not play Thack Zero.
Exactly. No one is making you do 5e.
And
no one.
I've never ever heard anyone dislike the phrase Nat 20.
Yeah, I know. Throwing a term like Nat 20 in initiative.
What do you want me to call it? A natural 20? Do you want me to say I rolled a 20 on my D20? What do you want me to say?
And you know what? Again, we've said this before and I will say it again. It used to be a place for ostracized nerds to get away from the world. It still is. And you know what? That fucking chain has to break at some point. I know it feels bad. Look at me. I was bullied in school. I was weird in school. I still am weird now. I still get weird looks now. Like, it hurts to have the people who treat you badly want to be part of your thing. Mm-hmm. I understand. However, you have to extend the olive branch sometimes.
You got to.
You have to let go of that hate and
your
resentment
heart
at
is
some
filled
point.
with hate.
Yeah, you have to let go of it. Because do you know who doesn't benefit from that? You. You holding on to the resentment only ruins your time. Because let's be honest, that person probably doesn't even realize they've done that to you. And that person who ostracized you when you were younger, the person now trying to join your game who looks like that person isn't that person. Like, you have no idea.
We've grown up. Like,
yeah.
And I despise that. Like, D&D was just nowhere near as, like, known about back in the day. Yeah. Like, just because, like, Critical Role is a thing and, like, more people like, know about it now, we're all still nerds.
Yeah.
We're all, like, there is still a large portion of this planet who wouldn't play D&D even though it's mainstream. We're all nerds, but just now more nerds know about it.
Yeah, totally.
What's wrong with that?
And
like, we're all still fucking ostracized weird people who have like strange hobbies. Yeah. Like, to a normal person. D&D is a weird fucking hobby.
Yeah, and like, you know, what I also think, what is the harm in a normie being interested in what you're doing? Like, what is the harm in it?
I mean, like, I always get the argument of the corporations.
Oh, true.
We get it.
Of course.
Like when corporations get their grubby little mitts on things that are popular.
Of course.
Yes, it's going to cost more. Yes, they're going to try and monetize it. Yes, they're going to try and sell you more things. We don't get that. We don't like that. But when it's just other nerds,
I know.
Like you're just fucking being gatekeepery for no reason.
I even think like the argument here of everyone and their mum are using terms like nat 20. God forbid
somebody knows the phrase natural 20.
God forbid, like if we're using the exact example of someone's mum, God forbid someone's mum actually giving a fuck about what their family are doing.
Yeah, like
and
the
trying to be fun and include themselves.
Me.
God forbid.
You're such a fucking loser. You're such a boring motherfucker.
Stop.
Fuck off.
Gatekeeping. Stop gatekeeping.
Gatekeeping's the fucking most boring, lame ass shit. Just go. If you want the game to be tough and you want the game to be complicated, go play a tough, complicated game.
People who feel the same way that you do.
Like nobody's making you play the game in a specific way. I definitely wouldn't say if you want to go play a less inclusive game, because there's literally no need for you to play a less inclusive game.
I feel like we come from a position, right? Because we have a really tight-knit community. We talk to our community a lot. We hear stories from our community. So I think we see the side of D&D that changes people's lives.
Yeah.
And we see the side of D&D that has kept people from the edge sometimes.
Yeah,
that's
I agree.
Completely changed someone's trajectory of life. So hearing someone gatekeep it just because, no
real valid reason.
Knowing how much D&D can change your life for the better, like it's just egregious to me.
It's just pathetic.
It truly is.
It's truly just
and you know what?
Heinous shit.
If anyone tells you, and this is just not just about D&D, if anyone's like, "Oh, you're only saying that because it's popular," tell them to fuck off because you can like whatever you like, no strings attached. No. By the way. Oh, all right. Well, next.
Oh my god, you are so boring. Yes. It's unbelievable.
Oh, I'm so bored of gatekeeping.
So boring. You're such a boring piece of shit. Fucking shut up.
All right. Anyway. Okay. This next one. Okay. All right. This one's fine. Well.
Is it?
It's so I don't like stat buy for character creation. I prefer a D&D style where it's 3d6 in order and then you get what you get. Not every player character gets to be a hero, nor should they. The PCs are just mortals like everyone else. More skilled, possibly, or possibly not. If their stats make them unsuitable for adventuring and they choose to do so anyway, well, they will probably die, and they should.
Okay. So,
I feel like this is two parts again.
The thing is, I agree that point buy is bad.
Agreed.
But I disagree with all the reasons why you give.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I know, totally.
Like, you should be the hero. You might not be the hero at the beginning.
Yeah, of course.
But you will end up the hero.
Yeah, like
you are far greater than a normal human.
Yeah, and you know what? Like this person preferring 3d6 in order, that's completely their prerogative. Like I totally have like no opinion on that because if that's what they prefer, then fine.
Yeah.
Like,
but the reasons you gave us
like.
If you're unequipped, you should die.
If your stats make you unsuitable for adventuring and you choose to do so anyway, they'll probably die and they should. It's an adventuring game.
Yeah. Like
it's an adventuring game. That's the whole point.
You should probably have a minimum so your party can adventure. That's the point.
Yeah.
Like, and this is why people are like, I hate rolling for stats. And it's like, I feel like people who hate rolling for stats don't put a minimum total in place.
Yeah.
If you want to put the minimum of standard array, you can. I usually give it a little bit more than that because I think standard array is a little low. But if you're rolling for stats, I implore you to put a minimum in place.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that isn't talked about enough in when rolling. You know, you hear rolling and you just go, oh, you get what you get.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's not the case.
Yeah, like, and it can be. It can be if you prefer doing it like that. Exactly like this person does.
But then you will get subpar stats and you probably will die in the adventure.
Absolutely. And you know what? We've said it before. Having one person with really low stats or one person with really high stats really messes up team balance
100%.
Entirely.
Yeah.
Having an under-optimized character in even just a normally optimized group is horrible for everyone.
And then having somebody in the party who is a hero,
exactly,
like in terms of their stats,
exactly,
that just feels bad for.
It feels bad for everyone.
Well, it depends who you are. Some people will be like, "Yeah, I'm so fucking good in your shit, and I love that," and that's not great.
Just boring. Yeah.
So just so everyone knows, the reason we hate point buy is because we are min maxes. everyone who sits at our table is a min-maxer. We like to get the most out of our class. We pick our class to be good at it. So you will end up seeing when you play at our table
8, 15, 15, 15.
You will see 15, 15, 15, 8, 8, 8. And I know that point buy can be good for some people
Not for us.
who aren't us. But the thing is, even when I try and balance it, I end up with 15, 15, summit mid.
Me too, something
8,
terrible.
8.
Yeah, same. I'm the same. I'm exactly the same.
And it just feels so bad.
Yeah,
because I want to be good at the things I'm good at. And when it comes to point buy, I cannot resist the urge to go 15, 15, 15.
I'm the same.
And this is the thing, like, if you play point buy, you can definitely play it totally fine. But if you're a min-maxer or you've got min-maxers at your table, that will happen.
Same. Yeah, totally.
And that's why I don't like it.
You know, again, like, you know, to go back to this, like, the idea that, like, not every character gets to be the hero, that feels fucking bad.
Yeah.
That feels really bad.
Unless you're playing a game where it isn't like that and it is more like a realistic, down-to-earth, like, game. And then, yeah, totally fine.
But the implication of this is there is heroes, but just not everyone is. And I just think that's unfair.
And it's like, especially if somebody in your party is a hero.
Well, that's exactly the point. Unless everyone's bought into it, in which case, you know, that's fine. But like, I can't imagine any of us buying into one person just being the main character.
Fuck that.
You know what I mean?
Could you imagine coming to play D&D and one of the people at the table is the hero and everyone else is just the sidekick?
No, absolutely.
Nah, that feels real bad.
That feel horrible. Like, and you know, it's punishing. It's going, you have to use this rule set. And what? Oh, you want to adventure? You've got bad stats and you're adventuring. Well, you should die. And it's like, wow.
We're playing an adventuring game, though.
Wow, okay.
That is where you absolutely need a minimum.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
like, this is the minimum for an adventurer, and that you cannot roll under that.
Like, that's the
if you roll under that, we re-roll.
That's the point where you've put in a rule, people have to follow it, and then you go, oh, you're still choosing to go?
It's like, what do you want me to do?
You're dead.
Just kill my character and make another one? Because that feels pointless.
You're just putting them in a position where they're never going to win. Like, that's just peak DM versus player. I disagree. This person actually had another take as well.
Okay.
0 health is 0 health. You die, you don't come back just because all the enemies are dead and someone taps you on the shoulder with a level 1 healing spell. You need to find someone that can cast reincarnation.
There you go. You can tell the type of game they're playing there.
Yeah, true.
You can take that first instance, that first take, and then this take, and just get a picture of the game.
Yeah.
And do you want to know what? That's fine. Like, if
I feel like if you want to do 0 health and you're dead, then that's again your prerogative, and right?
If you want to play a really realistic, not everyone's a fucking hero, like thing like that, and it's a very like
the weak
sloggy,
ones will die, and
that's fine if that's a game you want to play.
Yeah,
but you know, I don't think that's what the majority of people want to.
I fucking wouldn't want that.
And
no
I think
way.
that's why it's probably an unpopular opinion.
Totally.
I think that's why both
like,
of them are an unpopular opinion.
Picture the whole, like, the weak are going to die, and then 0 health is 0 health. You can't come back. It's like, Jesus Christ.
I think, like, the whole 0 health thing, I think a lot of people would probably quite enjoy that.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
But then it's like, all you're going to do is start the game, go to every church to try and find a priest who can cast Revivify or reincarnate.
And what's the, like, is there a cost on it? Is there something that they will just, like, willingly do for you? Like,
and then you just like
surely
let's just get to level 5 and get Revivify, because then that's when the game can truly start for us.
And well, not even Revivify, it has to be reincarnation.
Isn't that a 7th level spell?
It's either a 5th or I don't know. You know what? I just started saying numbers. I have absolutely no idea. Reincarnation is a high level spell, though. Yeah, definitely. Right. Which I would hedge my bets that in the starting area there is not going to be someone who can cast reincarnation.
I don't think so.
Right?
I'd be very surprised. Reincarnation is a 5th level spell. You're right. And that's the one where you come back as a different race.
Yes. Yeah. Like, boo. I don't know. I would hate that. I get people who would like that.
Like the more gritty, realistic version of the game, and like that's fine. But you know, that's not why a lot of people play D&D. A lot of people play it because they want to live out like the fantasies of the things that they see in media.
I want to kiss my friend, and that's that on that. Do you think they're unpopular?
Yes. Yeah. I think they are both unpopular.
Me too. Hello. Sorry, we had to stop for the dog, so we got some
new teas.
We got some tea. I got hot chocky.
I got tea.
I have a hot chocky. Have we told you we make our own hot chocky? Well, we
we did make.
It was a recipe I saw on TikTok. Who showed how to make your own hot chocolate powder, and I put some caramel syrup in. It's really good.
But we also made our own hot chocolate properly the other day.
We did. We made it in a slow cooker.
We made it in a slow cooker. It was like Galaxy chocolate. What was it? It was double cream,
condensed milk.
Actual milk.
Yeah, actual milk.
As well as condensed milk.
Chocolate.
And then chocolate.
It was too sweet.
And
that's coming from me. That's coming from me.
I thought it was delicious. You couldn't have more than one.
Yeah.
It was too sweet to have more than one.
It was way too sweet.
And you had to just like sip away at it, but it was delicious. I would say
just take the condensed milk out. It'd be good.
I'll just put like half the condensed milk in.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll do it again and just put half the condensed milk in.
Yeah. Anyway, it
was delicious.
Well, where are we up to? We finished that last one.
Yes. Which one was that?
The 0 health is 0 health.
Yes, yeah, because that was the Then we're on to the next.
Okay, so this next one is I don't know how popular this is, but as a first-time DM, the rules don't matter. What do you think?
I can't subscribe to that. I can subscribe to that if you aren't playing Dungeons and Dragons and you are just playing a game, tabletop role-playing game with your friends where you roll some dice at some point to dictate some things. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are, I think it's fucking really tough. If you're trying to play a game of Dungeons and Dragons with people, I think understanding the rules is almost a fucking fundamental thing.
It's paramount. Yeah, I agree.
I think understanding and using the rules as a first-time Dungeon Master is almost like an easier job.
I feel like there is kind of two sides to this coin, right?
I agree.
Like, the rules don't matter. Like, I would make the argument that if you're playing, like, D&D and you want to use the actual system of D&D, I think having the base core understanding of the rules is really important.
Is almost a necessity.
Yeah, and sticking to like the base core ideas, the systems is important.
I agree.
However, there's the other side of the coin where it's like the rules don't matter, and I think that pertains to how you run it. Where you run
the players you have.
Like
if nobody fucking understands the rules, then I guess it doesn't matter.
I think kind of what story you run. Like, I think everything flavor-wise and everything story-wise, there is no rule that would work for one person, to which I agree. However, I think the rules in terms of mechanics should matter.
Because the thing is, when we build, I said this before, when we build a game around numbers where stats dictate to hits, which dictate damage, which dictate DC, which dictate movement and AC and everything that's on your character sheet, being like the rules don't matter, you might as well just take up the character sheet and just get rid of it. Because like, then what's the point in picking a class? What's the point in picking a subclass? What's the point in picking a race that synergizes with either of those? Like, what's the point in picking feats? Because then those things just don't matter. So it's like, if you just want to play the game from a completely role-play perspective, then I agree with you. If you actually want combat to matter and, you know, other things mechanically to matter, then the rules need to matter. Because then how do you roll dice?
Like, I think, I mean, again, I could only assume what OP means here is like, the rules as in like, oh, what you have to do for like a grapple check or that's what I'm kind of assuming, right? And again, I think socially imposed rules do not matter. I think you can do anything you want, and the predetermined rules do not matter. However, I think mechanically the mechanical rules have to. I think.
And like, this is it. Like, if you just want to play a chill role-playing game with your mates, who fucking gives a shit about the rules?
Totally.
Like, rules don't need to matter for that. And if combat is more just like a cinematic, like, what do we all do to try and defeat the monsters? Like, that's fine. But when we actually get into like, if we are running proper combats and stuff like that, I think the rules absolutely do need to matter.
I think so. I think so too. Do you think it's unpopular?
Yeah,
I do. I think that's unpopular.
I think, to me, the best way to do it is get a base understanding of the rules first. And then, when you have that down, do what you want with it.
And, you know, I think as a first-time DM as well, I feel like there's so much discourse online about what makes a good DM and what you should and shouldn't do as a DM. I don't think any of that fucking shit matters. Like, you know, even the stuff we say, like, you know, we give advice all the time to first-time DMs, but it's like, you're really not going to know until you do it yourself. I think those types of rules don't matter.
And the thing is, I'm saying all of this, if you played a game and you didn't care about the rules and never had a good time, then what I say then literally doesn't matter.
Yeah, agreed.
But for most people who want to play Dungeons and Dragons, being a dungeon master for the first time and knowing the rules is probably a great way to start off, and then just undoing it from there and picking what you want is a great shout.
Agreed. Very much so. Okay, this next one is tanks are actually amazing in D&D 5e, even without the ability to taunt. People who say a tank can't taunt is a tank who doesn't know what a tank is.
Disagree.
Yeah. I'm really on the fence about this one. So, really on the fence about this one.
So the thing is, right? That's just the most subjective take on earth. Because the thing is,
that's
it's like,
it, isn't it? That's it.
Some people don't allow you to do like roleplay taunts.
Yes.
Some people don't allow you to be like, hey, you're ugly and I hate you.
You smell.
And I don't like your mother either. Yeah. And then the DM's like, oh, roll an intimidation check or roll a persuasion check or something like that. And then they roll it really well, and then they look at you and it's like, that's cool. Like, there's only actually a few people in the game who actually have a taunt.
Yes.
What's it called? The Ancestral Guardian Barbarian?
Oh God, I have no idea.
Something like that. Basically, if you hit them, they have disadvantage on everybody else.
Right,
apart from you.
And there's obviously like...
the Cavalier Paladin, I think, has a taunt like that as well.
Is it the Cavalier?
I'm pretty sure it is.
I have absolutely no clue. Sorry, I thought you were going to clap out there.
Then I was just looking at him.
I was
just making sure he's. Usually when he gets under the covers, that's when he's like,
the lick
right, I'm gonna have a lick now. But he got under the covers and he just laid down.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I completely stopped thinking you were gonna clap out.
Ancestral Guardian Barbarian and the Cavalier Paladin.
Yeah.
I think are the only two that I can really think of.
Yeah.
And it's like tanks are amazing at getting a fat AC and loads of hit points. But when nothing has a desire to hit you. What was that?
What was that?
What was it? Was it the door? Did he just hit the door? Oh no, it'll have been this. It's okay. It's scaring me.
Oh my God.
But when nothing has a desire to hit you, how are you a tank? Is the thing. You okay?
Yeah. Sorry, I thought it sounded like someone knocked on that door.
No.
And then you looked there and I was like, someone
I looked behind me.
Oh my God. Sorry.
So, when nothing has a reason to hit you.
Yeah.
You don't have a taunt.
Yeah.
You can have a fat AC and a fat stack of hit points.
Yeah.
But if nobody hits you, then they're no good.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to be said about like battlefield control and being able to like get to people if they need you to.
That's the other way to tank.
Yeah.
In my opinion, battlefield control.
I think that's it. And I guess this is probably what OP is saying here, right? Being like, you don't need a taunt to be able to be a good tank, which I do agree with.
There is, I think you have to be clever about it though.
Very much so.
That's
like positioning.
Positioning, Sentinel is an unbelievable tanking feat.
Very much
the
so.
wizard fucking shoots out a massive fireball, then every minion looks at the wizard, and you're sat there like sentineling people so they can't run over. You've got like reach.
There's the Vengeance Paladin thing where if someone gets hit, you can move half your movement as a reaction to get
towards
to
them.
Like I feel like that's a different side of taunting, of tanking. Even.
Yeah, battlefield control is great. Obviously, having a massive AC and a fat stack of hit points is great because you're going to need them if you're going to be taking all the hits.
Yeah.
And a way to taunt is good.
Totally.
If you can roleplay taunt, then sick.
Yeah.
If your DM allows that, that's a really great way because then you can just slag off the enemy and get a good roll. Yeah. But usually, if you're a barbarian, you've got shit charisma.
Yeah.
Unless you can use your strength modifier.
To do totally. So yeah, totally.
I don't agree that. Like, D&D isn't built for tanking.
Yeah, agreed.
I think there is very clever people who've made ways to tank,
but I don't think
it's made for tanking. Yeah.
I completely agree. Do you think that's unpopular?
I think it's 50-50.
I think it's 50-50. I was very much on the fence with this one.
I think that loads of people think D&D is actually shit for tanks and you can't taunt and things like that.
And then people who are like, well, actually, there's
really clever ways to do it. And
which there is.
And I agree, there is really clever ways to do it.
Yeah, totally.
But it would all be just a lot better if there was a taunt.
Yeah, totally. Agreed. This next one is, I'm not sure if it's truly unpopular, but I wish that there was a better sense of progression for weapons that was a little more linear.
Agree.
But that might be the RPG video game player in me. Like, for example, you would go from a copper sword to an iron sword to a steel sword, and each one would be incrementally stronger as you upgrade it over time.
Mm-hmm.
I love that sense of gear progression, even if it just means spending money to upgrade.
True.
I agree. I very, very much agree with this.
So true, bestie.
Yep.
I agree so much.
Totally. I'm so with you.
Not long ago, I can't remember, Ginny D did a sponsor, and there was like heirloom weapons in the thing.
I love the idea of heirloom weapons.
And it's the idea of you get a weapon and it levels with you. You might just get like +1s to hit and +1s to attack and things like that, but you might like be able to like not take those and be like, when you hit somebody, you can make them make a charisma saving throw to be charmed by your
totally based on your play style. Yeah,
it's like you can like customize them to your play style.
I really like that without having to get like a new weapon. Which like the thing is, D&D makes it like super easy for you to be able to just switch your weapons out. Like an hour to attune to something, you can unattune for free.
If it's magic, you can just pick up.
Instead
of a great axe, use a great sword.
So I feel like there isn't much incentive.
There's no incentive
to do like a linear thing. But I agree. I think perfect example going from a copper sword to an iron sword to a steel sword feels good.
Yeah,
feels good.
Feels unreal.
And roleplay wise as well, being able to kind of put the time into doing that as well.
Just getting like maybe even finding like a master blacksmith.
Yeah.
And being able to like harden the steel of your blade, so now it's like a +1 to attack or something like that. Like, and you can do those things as a dungeon master, but the game doesn't give you have to do that.
Yeah.
The game doesn't go, oh, here you go, there's a dungeon master, this is what you should do, so the players can get a upgrade system on their weapon.
Yeah.
Like, I've done that for a few people now.
A couple things, yeah.
Getting like a weapon and then like it upgrading.
Yeah.
And that feels real good.
It does. And I wish that there was a system like in the game, and I'm absolutely certain, right, there will be like modules that have something like this, especially like fan created modules, where like you get a weapon and then you get a table with it, and it gives you objectives, and if you do those objectives and you do those things, you can unlock that type of progression on the item.
Unreal.
I think that would be really fun.
So sick.
So when you get the weapon, you get handed the table, and you have all the options in front of you, and as you level up, you can go, okay, well maybe I want this one. And then you work towards that. I think I love that.
It's like, and you can get like really, really like down and dirty with it for the people who really like to like almost gamify it.
Yeah.
It's like when you've spilt 100 different creatures' blood, this weapon will upgrade.
And it gives you incentives to like keep a tally on something extra, which I understand not everyone would like that.
And like that's the thing, not everyone likes that, but there are people who would be like,
me.
Oh my God.
I would love that. I would love something like that.
When you've slain 70 enemies with this, it'll unlock the next like magical feature.
Absolutely. And for the people who don't really care about those things, give them upgrades that are going to happen anyway.
Give them upgrades just in roleplay.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this fucking sword yearns to be planted in the top of the highest mountain in the region, and then you get up there and you fought your way through, and the sword is like
it would feel really cool
into the earth, and when it does, like extra runes are engraved on the blade. Yeah, totally. Like that is unreal.
And that's a lot of faith in your DM as well. To be able to give you that, but imagine how good that would feel when you're stood at the bottom and your DM goes and you can see enemies atop the highest mountain in this region, and you're like, well, I'm going up there.
I'm going up there. I'm going to slay that dragon because I want a +1 sword.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's
just sick.
I think that's just such a shame that there isn't something like that. Yeah. And if you know of something like that, I'm sure there will be, right? There will be heirloom upgrade weapons. You even said like Ginny D that had a sponsor, right?
There's a sponsor out there that does like specifically does like D&D, TTRPG, heirloom based weapons.
Awesome. If you know what they're called, please let us know. That'd be really cool.
I can't remember what the name is.
Cool to look into it.
So cool.
I don't think that's unpopular at all.
No, I think a lot of people would really, really, really like that.
I think a lot of people would also really not like it, but I would love that.
But I think that as long as there are, I think if a book said, here's a weapon, here's all the upgrades, it's up to you, Dungeon Master. It's either this many kills, this objective in the game, finding this person, doing this like crazy, planting it in the mountain. Yeah,
it's cool. Having an extra objective. I love it. And I know everyone at our table would love an extra objective as well. I really do. Yeah, I don't think that's unpopular at all. On to the next. Look, I've got so many hairs on my mic.
Pick them off.
Oh my goodness. They're not even my hairs, they're the dog hairs.
Of course they are.
Well, of course they are. I say so many, there was 2.
I don't want to blow it because
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. This one is allowing PvP is pretty unpopular, but I feel it's essential in building a cohesive party. Eventually, the minority is killed off, and the majority moves on to bigger and better things.
What?
I forgot how dramatic that one was.
Let's just instead of like
we kill the weed.
Instead of working out our differences, what we actually do is we just kill each other. We just kill the people that we
and
don't
we
like.
move on to bigger and
better.
What the fuck?
You know, like I think this is stupid, but you know, like if your party enjoys that, everyone's got to enjoy it.
True.
Every single person has got to enjoy that. Otherwise, there'll probably just be one person who like people don't like IRL.
Yeah,
and they're just like,
I know.
Should we just kill Brian's character?
yeah.
Every time he turns up.
And like that's the thing. Like I understand people who would like PvP. I would hate PvP. I don't think PvP would have a place at our table, to be honest with you. But like. The minority is killed off. What? And the majority move on?
Weird.
Well, that's so weird. What I want to know.
First of all, weird thing to say.
First of all, strange. Yeah, weird thing to say out loud.
Weird thing to say.
I want to know what formed this opinion. What happened to this person to form this opinion? I would like to know.
Unpopular.
Very unpopular.
Has to be unpopular.
That has to be unpopular. Minorities killed.
Like, I don't...
What does that mean? The minority?
Like, we don't just outright ban PvP.
No,
like,
but none of us partake.
None of us really partake unless it's like an arm wrestle or like we do like just a stinky little duel for like fun or something like that. Or we get in a fighting pit together or something.
You know, none of us would ever, if we had a disagreement, start actually fighting each other.
No.
Like, I think the only circumstance we would is if someone wanted to harm another person or an NPC for an unjustified reason. I think that's the only circumstance I could see anyone using force of any kind.
Yeah.
But like even then, I feel like because we've not really had the discussion, it would leave a sour taste in everyone's mouth.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? I think if that happened, all of us after the fact would be like, that felt a bit personal.
And so you get that deflated feeling around the table.
It feels horrible.
Yeah,
it feels absolutely horrible.
No, not a big fan of that.
No, same.
Stinky opinion.
I can see why people would use PvP, but yeah.
Stinky.
That has to be unpopular.
That has to be. I think the thing is, right, I think there's a small group who are like, yeah,
kill the minority.
I love just killing my friends' characters.
Yeah. Right. Next one. How many of these do we fucking have left? Oh, so many.
Do we?
Yeah. So, world building is overrated. So this might be a hot take, but world building is kind of useless. Like, don't get me wrong, it's fun and I like it, but most of the time it's just not needed.
Mm-hmm.
It might sound mean, but most of the players want to do is just cool stuff and not read your novel.
Yeah.
The idea that it fleshes out the world is true, but it has its limits, and for me, visual descriptions are much better. For example, you can tell the backstory of how Strahd destroyed a village and now it's in ruins, blah, 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 or just when they go to a tavern, they serve bad alcohol with a spider in the cup. I personally just like to have a basic idea, less than a page, and then prepare session by session because the world is created by the players. For example, I run a pirate-themed game, and when I first thought of the world, Marines didn't exist. Fast forward to a few sessions ago, I talked about the Marines for trying, and the Marine, and the players were interested, so now it's a part of the world. Since the world building is so soft, I can change and adapt on the fly without a problem.
Mm-hmm. So, like, I do agree with parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people will disagree heavily.
Yeah.
And that's because, like, a lot of people, like very, like, conceptualized worlds.
Me.
Like, when it comes to, like, I remember when Ratty P, one of our mods, told us about his world.
Yes.
He'd fucking done like weather charts for his world and stuff like that. And it's just like, the thing is, I think that a lot of it probably will not come up.
Yeah, but
I
it's
think
there in case
it's
it
there
does.
in case it does.
Yeah.
I am very much more like this person.
Yeah.
Like, I will just like, there is a premise, there is an idea,
yeah.
There is like probably like a handful of things that like are true in my world.
Yes.
Like, this is a thing, this is a thing, this is the thing, this is the thing, this is the thing. That's it.
Yeah.
And then we just like, as you go, you guys do write a lot of the world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit that you ask me, and I'm like, fucking, I don't even thought of that. I'll make something up on the fly, and I'm like, that's canon now.
That's how that is.
And I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, I think what you just described there, though, having the few things in the world that are true, I class that as the most important part of world building.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that is the absolute pillars of world building.
Am I the sort of person, though, that is going to make up new days of the week? Say that my year has 400 days in it instead of 365.
Yeah.
Am I going to have like new names for months? No, because I can't be asked to do that.
Yeah, but like
that's not important to me.
In my opinion, I don't think that is an important pillar of world building.
I think a lot of people would think it is.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, to me, I guess I'm biased because of how we play in your world. But to me, the most important things about world building is the things that are held true and the things that are consistent throughout.
Yeah.
And some visual stuff. To be fair, like I do get caught up in the visual stuff, but I think things like the days in the week, that's to me flavor. That's just stuff that goes on the top.
But I think a lot of people would put that in world building. They'd be like, yeah, no.
True.
That's canon in my world. And it's like, I just don't fucking care, is the thing. And
yeah,
like, or like we have this season's, and I don't know, like, I agree with this because I think a lot of people get caught up on so much world building. And then a lot of it just doesn't even come to light.
True, but some people just love world building. Yeah, some people just love putting that extra, like, finesse, I guess you could call it, into their worlds.
To me, the issue comes when you've done world building that I think is, in my opinion, unnecessary. And then, like, you just tell your players it when they didn't ask. That's the sort of world building that I don't like personally.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, I also think fucking players do that all the time. Players all the time do shit in their backstories, and they tell people who are like, and they say it, and you know, the DM has to be reciprocal to that, and I feel like the players should be reciprocal to that too.
I mean, the thing is, if somebody asks about a part of my world, then I'll tell them. Yeah. But the thing is, it's when I come to the session, I'm like, oh, just so you know, I did this and now this and this, and I'm just like when you're just like talking and nobody asked, that's when I don't feel like the world building is necessary.
Yeah, see, to me, I think I'm on a different part, but I think that's because I love listening. Like, to me, that's just not an issue. Like, to me, I wouldn't mind. I would actually, if I heard those points being made, I would actually probably make notes of that and try to refer to them later, but that's just because of the type of person I am.
But that's the thing. That's because I love listening too. Yeah. As a dungeon master. Yeah. Like, most of the time in a session, I'm enjoying when I'm just listening. And, you know, like, I have the things that I've prepared. I have the things that are necessary. Yeah. And when they come about, I'm ready and excited to tell you those things about what happens in the session, this little bit of world lore, this little bit of world building, this NPC. Yeah. And then I go...
Yeah, but, you know, if you were a player in a DM's world and they gave you all this extra information, you wouldn't sit there going, oh, fucking come on.
What was that, sorry? A player in a DM's world?
Yeah, you wouldn't. If someone was telling you about, like, the different seasons and then the political atmosphere, you wouldn't be sat there going, oh, I didn't ask.
I would be if I didn't ask.
No, you wouldn't.
I would be. No,
you wouldn't.
I definitely would be. If I turned up to the session ready to play D&D, and I had to sit there and listen to the DM talk about the days, the months, the seasons, the like.
I guess that's like a session 0 thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
Like if we're in the middle of the session and nobody asked, and the DM's just, we've played it a game. Me and you have played it a game where the DM told us random lore and didn't shut the fuck up for the entire session.
That's because they were talked for like 6 hours.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's
but, you know,
the sort of like when the world building overtakes the session,
everything. Agreed.
That's when I don't like it.
Yeah, but I don't think that that's a common thing.
But the thing is, you can do all that world building and keep it in your back pocket for when it's asked about. Yeah. Amazing, because then you're fucking prepared and the world does feel alive. But it's when you've prepared it and you just tell people it when no one asks.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I have a slightly softer stance on that than you do. Like, I think
And I don't think many people do that, to be fair.
No, I feel like that is very much the minority.
I have been privy to
Same,
it.
And you know what? Yeah, you know what? Same.
It wasn't
when the DM spoke for, like, I'm not kidding you, like
an hour,
6 hours,
and we were
it
like,
wasn't an hour,
but it was like an hour straight of that person talking, and we were like,
yeah,
can we play now?
Yeah, no, totally. No, I agree. But I feel like that's very much the minority. And I also think sometimes people are just excited to talk about the things they've done.
Of course they are.
Like, and I think there needs to be a little bit of lenience there for things like that.
But I do think that, like, you prepare as much of your world as you feel comfortable.
Well, that's it. I think that's what it comes down to, right?
Like, saying that one is right and one is wrong is incorrect.
Yeah,
because,
no, true.
You know, like, some people wouldn't feel comfortable going into their world unless it is fucking fully fleshed out, fully planned.
Yes.
And it's, like, amazing if you want to do that.
Yes.
I couldn't do that because I would just burn myself out. So I plan what is necessary. There are a few things that are true.
Yeah.
I plan the zones that we are going to be in.
I think that's the most important part.
But it's like, there's no right or wrong way to world build.
True.
It's just whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, it's the same as planning.
And it's like, my next campaign is going to be very contained.
Yeah.
So I don't really have to do much of world building.
Yeah,
world building is within this city.
You know what? I feel like world building is such an open thing.
Such an open-ended thing.
It's
like, do you know what it's like? It's like planning. Do you know when we talk about planning and it's like, you plan as much as you feel is necessary. And I'll plan as much as I feel is necessary.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the same as world building. You will build as much as you want. I'll will build as much as I want. And both are fine as long as you're comfortable as a dungeon master.
I feel like it comes down to what your interpretation of world building is as well. Like, you know what? I've just realized, and to me, world building is like setting those pillars, and everything else is kind of like aesthetic. Although I guess you could say the aesthetic stuff does fall under world building. Mm-hmm. But
I think a lot of people would consider.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like, days of the week.
A
world building thing.
Yeah, true.
And I just
what do you consider
world building?
Yeah. I realized
that was a long rant about
that was a really long rant. What do you think about the take that world building is overrated?
Comes down to each person. Yeah. Like, this person is very clearly very, very happy to let their players write it, make it up on the fly.
See, I disagree with that. I think world building is absolutely necessary.
But they are saying it is. To a degree.
Yeah, I think...
And I think I would agree because I'm very much like that.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely necessary in terms of the things that are true of the world.
Yeah.
But that's because that's just what I class as world building.
Yeah, but then that's it. And it's like, what is true in your setting?
Yeah.
Like, my setting
I think that has to be...
We know what the crack is. Like, something's happened.
Yeah.
These fucking meteors have rained down from the sky onto the great city of Isrendith. Yeah. And we don't know why. And the city has fallen. And all of the people are having to get together and go back in and take the sea.
Yeah.
That's just a few things that are true about my world.
Yeah. I think that's really important. I don't think that's overrated at all.
Yeah, but I think that's very minimal world building to some people. I think so.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Anyway, that was such a long... Yeah. How long were we talking about that
I think
for?
About 20
Jesus
minutes.
Christ. This is going to be such a long episode. I'm sorry. Do you like how I was like, we're moving the winners to this episode?
So we can keep it short and sweet.
Sorry. To be fair, there's extra time on the timer. This is going to be an over 2 hour episode.
Easy,
definitely. How many's left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To be fair, some of them are really short.
But that's unpopular opinions. Unless they're the same as that, easy.
Yeah, easy. All right, this next one is: I see a lot of DM forums say that you do not need to worry about having a balanced party. Yes, you do. If you don't have a blaster or a nuker or DPS things that are going to slow a crawl because sorry.
You're doing so great.
If you don't have a blaster or a nuker or DPS, things are going to slow to a crawl because nobody is doing serious damage. If you don't have a tank, you end up playing rocket tag. If you don't have a healer, then as a GM, you have to give them the equivalent of 100 gold a day to do the equivalent of a first level cleric. If you don't have a utility option, then your players are going to struggle when not in combat. If you don't have a scout or someone who can disarm traps, then you basically have to walk into a place with no information and be ready to make a bunch of saves. What do you think?
Tell me you're the most immobile DM on earth. like the thing is, it's like, do you need a tank? No. Do you need a massive DPS? No. Mm-hmm. Do you need a healer? No. Because you look at what you do have and then you plan accordingly.
That was going to be the exact point I was going to make. Like, you have to be flexible as a DM to accommodate to that. However, there is part of me that does kind of agree with this. Like, there's part of me that is like, yeah, good point made. Good point. Like, you're right. If the DM is unwilling to, which it sounds like potentially this could be unwilling to accommodate.
That's the problem. Not the party composition.
Yeah, agreed. Like, if you're playing like a setting where you're expected to have those things, then yeah, of course it's going to be a problem. Like, of course, if you don't have a blast the DPS, then yeah, you're going to really struggle. And if you don't have a healer, then yeah, you're going to struggle. But then I feel like the argument of like 100 gold a day, the equivalent, like I don't see what's wrong with that it's not real money.
What was the gold part? Sorry, I was fixated on the other part.
The 100 gold a day just to do you have to give your party 100 gold a day just to do the equivalent of a first level cleric. And to me, I'm like, well, it's not like it's real money.
Just turn the fucking knobs down, man. Turn the dials down.
I know.
This is what I just don't get. It's just like, oh well, in this module, we need a paladin, a cleric, a barbarian, and a rogue. And if we don't have them, we're gonna fucking struggle. And it's just like, and then the mob that they're gonna fight has 150 hit points, and it's just like, well, then now it has 100 hit points.
I know, it's so rigid.
It's just so rigid. It's just like, you need to, I think, in my opinion, you need to be more flexible. I had this exact conversation with Matthew the other day. I was talking about how the new monk is fucking busted and it's sick.
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, well, it's going to leave other things in the dust. I was like, well, not really, because everything's got busted up. Everything now feels way better.
Yeah,
and he was just like, well, then it's just rocket tag. And I'm like, well, everything can just feel better, and now the enemies are harder. True. And it's just like, I would rather fix all the quality of life of every single thing in the game. Like, the barbarian is now good at being skillful. The rogue has more options than just sneak attack. The monk isn't shit.
Yeah, like, I think that's more important, definitely.
Making everything feel better is a baseline. That's what we do with fucking 1D&D. And then the monsters can be harder if they need to be. Yeah. And it's just like, well, yeah, but then you just move in the goalpost, and it's just like, but everything feels good
better
to play.
Yeah, totally. It's like, what does playing rocket tag mean? I don't think I understand what that means.
Who can kill who faster?
Oh, okay.
Like, it just comes, we don't have a tag, if we don't have a tank, it's just, can I DPS you faster than you can DPS me?
What is rocket tag?
What is rocket tag?
Yeah.
I don't know what rocket tag is.
No, me neither.
Like, I don't know what rocket tag is, like, out of the context of D&D.
You do?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? No, me
But
neither.
I know when it comes to D&D, it's just who can kill who faster. Who can fucking turbo fuck the other team faster.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like a DPS check kind of thing. Okay, right. Okay.
It's a DPS check.
Yeah, okay, got you.
Can I kill you faster than you can kill me?
Oh, okay. I got you. Like, and again, I just feel like that if that's what that means, then surely it just means adjusting the other side of it a little bit.
That's exactly what it means.
Like, that's all it means.
And that's why this point is just completely rubbish.
Yeah.
It's like,
here's me like, I agree with
I think it's rubbish because it's like, if we don't have X, Y, and Z, it's like, and our party isn't as strong as this fight needs, then we can just make the fight as easy as it needs to be, so it's an even fight.
True. And you know what? I feel like when you say things like, oh, we can just make it harder or easier, I think that invokes panic, because doing something like that on the fly, I think combat for DMs is something that is one of the hardest parts to...
I agree.
In my opinion, because, I stink with numbers. But I also think, balancing is really difficult. So I think that invokes a lot of panic. And I think that invokes a lot of feelings of, well, I shouldn't have to, because they just went and made everyone so much harder, so I'm going to have to put more work in. I feel like that's the feeling that invokes. Yeah. And I think wrongly so, by the way.
And no, I agree that, like, look, I understand that some people are good at balancing combat and some people are bad. And, but some people are good at roleplay and some people are bad at roleplay. And I'm not telling you to do it on the fly.
No.
I'm telling you to, like, there are so many resources out there.
Totally.
You can listen to this podcast and listen to everything I've said since, number 1 to number 94, and I'll give you hundreds of tips on how to balance combat.
Yeah.
And I just think being rigid because you can't be asked to learn,
I think that's it,
is not a good attitude to have.
Agreed. And you know what? I feel like I didn't even consider the fact that you could just move the goalpost. So when I read this, I was like, oh yeah, well, if that's the setting in which that is true, then yeah, it absolutely is true. But pardon me, only in that one tiny box that they're being put into. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I think. Do you think that that's unpopular?
What?
Like that you have to worry about having a balanced party.
No, I think it is. I think that's a 50-50.
I think that's a 50-50.
I think that's a 50-50. I think that because people are so unwilling to learn how to balance combat.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if you're willing, you will get there in the end.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. God, learning how to balance combat is hard.
And it's not going to be easy.
It's not.
And it's going to take multiple mistakes.
Yeah.
But the fact that you want to learn how is the only thing that anyone could ever want from you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if you want to learn, full stop, how to do anything, that's better than just being like, fuck it. It's either this or bust.
Yeah, oh no, yeah, totally.
That's the shit attitude to have.
That's a good metaphor for life.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
I agree.
Like, but balancing combat is hard. It is hard. It is. It very much is.
And like, I don't expect anyone to turn up to Dungeons and Dragons and just know how to balance combat. But the fact that you want to learn is the point.
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
Can you see that? It
looks
I think so. Weird.
It doesn't. It just looks like you've got a glove on.
Yeah. Anyway,
I think it's a stinky point, but I think multiple people would agree with it.
Agreed.
People who are like, well, you have to have a paladin because what we're going to do without aura of protection? And it's just like, we just make the DCs not as hard.
Although, to be fair, we do, in our party, when we make our group comp, we do like to be like, who's a tank?
Yeah, but you guys like that.
True.
And I understand that.
True, yeah, true.
If you came in with no tank, I would adjust it accordingly.
Yeah, true.
And it might not be perfect straight away.
Yeah.
But I'd get it.
Yeah, true. I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like we talked about that for ages.
I think we talked about that for ages as well.
Oh, man.
It's going to be a long one,
Oh, man. All right. Okay. This is the fourth to last.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, I don't agree with DMs fudging dice rolls once they've been doing it for a while. But if it's something that you're going to implement to make the game easier for yourself, you need to let your players know that you're going to do that so they can decide if they want to stay in the game or not. Keeping it completely secret is being a liar and a shitty friend and player.
No.
Who hurt you? Oh, OP.
So, again, I agree with the sentiment, but not the reason why.
Yeah, I agree.
To me, like, if you are if you're in a new campaign, you got a new party setup, as we just talked about, you're not running with a tank, someone wanted to change from a paladin to a rogue and now there's no tank.
Yeah.
Like, fudging rolls while you are new at DMing, new to a party composition, new to a campaign, just in a new environment, totally fine.
Yeah, I fully agree. Fully agree.
But you will, again, get to the point where you understand how to dungeon master.
And you won't have to. Exactly. And you know what? I actually sit on the side of, if narratively it makes sense for you to fudge the roll, I don't care. Like, I'm very much ignorance is bliss, right? Yeah. I'm never going to know as the player if you're fudging a roll. Never. Simply, I'm not. Like, yeah, I can assume, but I'm never going to know. And what I don't know can't hurt me.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
So, like, one thing that I will say is there's so many people, and you'll get this as a dungeon master with a bit of practice, like, narrative things, just don't roll for them.
Just don't roll for it, totally.
If something narratively needs to happen, it happens.
Completely.
And then you don't go, all right, I need this to happen. That's a 5. It's an actual 20. And like, just if you need it to happen,
just let it happen.
Just let it
completely.
Happen. It just happens.
But that's something that comes very much with experience.
Yeah, and I think like you will get that with experience, because you will have a moment like that where you're like, I need this to happen. You'll roll and you're like,
yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. What do you think of the opinion of, like, if you are going to fudge rolls, you need to tell the players beforehand?
I do not agree with that.
Me neither.
In the slightest.
I feel like that completely rips the veil. That rips the veil of the screen away.
Yeah.
Like, listen, there's a reason the DM plays behind a screen.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, 100%. And the DM has to play behind a screen.
Yeah.
And the DM has the capability of fudging the rolls because they have to sometimes. Yeah. And I think saying, to be fair, I think OP's just hurt. Saying you're a liar and you're a shitty friend. Like, I feel like,
something's happened.
Yeah, I know that, and that's really sad, and I'm sorry. Is sad. But yeah, I think telling your players that you're going to fudge rolls sets the doubt immediately.
100%.
And every roll they're going to be like, You know what I mean?
You fudge that.
Whereas, listen,
look,
if you just fudge a roll every now and then, though,
do you know what? Even as a fucking seasoned DM, you might need to fudge one now and then.
Agreed.
You might just need to fudge one now and then.
Agreed.
It might be the BBEG fight if you've not rolled above a fucking 5.
Sometimes you just have to.
They're just turbo steamrolling it.
Yep.
And that's not going to feel good when they get to the end of the combat and they were like, I thought it was going to be harder than that.
Totally.
And for you were like, that sucked.
Yeah.
Like, if you just need a win, it's just a hit.
Yeah.
This attack's just a hit.
Agreed.
And like, you can do that now and then. Sometimes the dice gods aren't in your favor.
And sometimes they have to be.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they just have to be.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like this, I'm getting the feeling this comes from a point of they've played with a DM who has been really fucking harsh about it and who has done it as a DM versus player mentality.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think you should ever be fudging a roll to get one up on a player, to be putting yourself in a better position that isn't narrative. I think fudging dice rolls that need to happen to push the story, I think that's fine.
Yeah, or just don't roll them.
Yeah, or just don't roll them.
If you need a dice roll to narratively push along the story, you just don't need to do the dice roll and the story gets pushed along.
Totally.
Like, all of the dice rolls to get to that point is what matters.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say, like, the Lich needs the skull of the ancient wizard, and, like, you've had a fight, and that was all of the dice rolls, and you didn't kill the Lich in time.
Yeah.
The Lich gets to the skull,
yeah,
and the Lich just picks it up and teleports out.
Yeah,
it's
completely.
Like, all of the dice rolls to get to that point with a point, they don't need to roll the dice to pick up the skull.
Agreed.
Is what I mean.
Yeah, very much so. And you know what? This is something people feel so strongly about.
Yeah.
Like one way or the other. There's never anyone who sits in the middle with this, I feel.
No.
Like you either you're doing a disservice by fudging your rolls and you're a bad DM and you are letting your players down, where the other side of it is like, yeah, if you have to make it happen, you can just make it happen. I feel like there's no in between. What side do you sit on? I'd like to know.
So, like, I think when we think about D&D, we have to think it's like everything needs a roll. It's like it doesn't. I think when we get to the point where we realize that everything doesn't need a roll is when we will actually ascend into true D&D happiness.
True. I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is a unpopular opinion?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Telling your players about the rolls.
God.
Like, I do agree that, you know, like, at the beginning, you will probably need to fudge some rolls because you don't understand how to balance things.
Yeah.
But that will just like, by proxy of playing more Dungeons and Dragons, you will probably need to fudge less rolls.
Yeah.
It will just happen.
Yeah. I feel like this experience is like, they played in a game where nothing was possible, everything was impossible to do. The enemy always succeeded, they never failed, the party always took an L.
That feels real bad.
That feels shit.
So
terrible. Bad. Yeah, and you shouldn't be DMing if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, true.
All right, this is the last 3. We're on to the last 3.
Last 3?
The last 3.
We've flown through these.
We have, yeah. We have, oh my God, so speedy. We've zipped through.
Been to the point.
Okay, this next one is simply, sandbox campaigns are the worst.
Do you want to know what? I feel you, friend.
Yeah.
Because I don't like them either.
Yeah, me neither. This cannot be a more subjective take,
This is
though.
such a subjective opinion. And, like, you can run a sandbox. And it's like I remember when people heard about how long my last campaign was.
Yeah,
it was only 45 or something sessions. And they were like, that's really short. And I'm like, that's just what we like.
Yeah, we just like a concise,
contained adventures.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
That's what we like.
Like, simply put. And you know what? Like, I don't even think I really like sandbox games in general.
I fucking despise sandbox games.
Because I need, like, an objective.
I get paralyzed by choice.
So do I.
I super paralyzed by choice. I look at the map, I look at how big it is, I look at all of the quests I can get, and I go,
know, same.
Where the fuck? And the thing is, I know people are going to click that map button on a game, they're going to see all of the quests and how big the land is, and they're going to go, let's go on an adventure.
Yeah, exactly.
And they are just
absolutely love it.
And, like, my players know when they come to my game that it's going to be a concise adventure. I'm going to have fucking shit around every corner. There's going to be something happening every session. And there's going to be just, like, something to do. There's going to be story progression. There's going to be, like, things to achieve all the time. And it's not going to be super long, but it's going to be
action-packed.
It's going to be an action-packed adventure, and that's just what we like.
Yeah, agreed, very much so. And I can also see the other side of people who would hate that.
Hate it.
Like, people who like
downtime.
Yeah, people who like downtime. People who like being able to build, like, a homestead.
Yeah.
People who like being able to, you know, work on, like, a profession or
critical
a job.
role.
Yeah.
Like, that's a sandbox adventure.
Yeah.
You can go wherever
and do whatever.
Matt will have the world prepared for you.
Yeah.
And he will, like, and you know, like he has like casino games,
Yeah.
and like this place has like this cocktail, and you know what I mean, and like he's just like built a world that you can just go through, and there will be an adventure somewhere in there that you can experience.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And like, totally fine if that's the way you want to play it.
I think I would really struggle with that.
I would fucking hate it.
I need I need to know what the next step is. I think, and I feel like the other side of this is railroading, right?
Mm-hmm.
People thinking that a linear story is railroading.
It's not. It's not. Like I have never once influenced any of my players' opinions or decisions that they've made in the game.
Yeah.
And we have an extremely linear story.
Yeah, very, very much so. Very much so. Like rarely any side quests either, I would say. Like unless we're seeking them and we kind of create them.
Or it will be veiled as a side quest, which will then
totally
actually be a part of the plot.
Yeah, totally. And that's just
the
how
way
we
I
like to
do
play.
it.
Yep, I completely agree. I could not play in a sandbox game.
No.
I just wouldn't enjoy it. I would not like the uncertainty. And I think with a sandbox game, like with a sandbox game gives more opportunity to be like, God, am I making the wrong decision here?
Yeah.
Where I feel like a linear story, you never have that doubt of, am I doing the wrong thing here? Because it's very clear where you're going. And if there's one thing I like to do is I like to procrastinate.
Like the cat.
Like the cat.
Like the cat.
Like the cat. Exactly.
Yeah, and this is it. Like,
exactly.
And, you know, that completely subjective.
Yeah.
If you like sandbox games, fine. If you like sandbox,
completely.
If you like sandbox D&D games, fine.
Absolutely. More power to you, honestly.
Like, I don't.
Yeah.
And that's fine too.
Do you think that's unpopular?
I think that's a 50-50.
I think that... Sorry.
Do you want to know what? I actually think that people think they want a sandbox game.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people think they want it, and then they play in one, and then they're like,
yeah, I feel like there is such a discourse about railroading as well, and like such a discourse about like player what's the word, agency.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like people think like a linear story takes away player agency, and I completely disagree.
I agree. I think a linear story is just but you have to have the people who like it. Like,
this wouldn't work for someone who liked a sandbox
if
game.
someone comes to my game and they just want to like have days off and chill out and like create a homestead, and you know, it's just like, then you just aren't gonna like my game, and that's fine. I don't mind. But I know what I like, I know what my players like, and they seem to really enjoy what we've got.
Yeah, we do.
Like, I remember when fucking that day that we played my first campaign, and we had the double session in one day, and Matthew just wanted to shop all day. We got to halfway through and we had a takeaway, and Josh was like, can we go and do something now?
Can we go now?
And it's just like, I think Matthew is partial to a bit of both, whereas everyone else at the table is like, story.
I feel like now Matthew's actually the complete opposite. I think Matthew is actually very story-based now.
But I think that's because when he knows what to expect from the game.
Yeah, true. Because
in the first campaign, like that, I didn't really know either.
Yeah.
And I realized as the campaign went on that I didn't like it.
Yeah, true. So. Agreed. Anyway, wow, we talked about that once again.
That wasn't too long.
No, we are on a roll.
We're just gassing.
How are you enjoying it? You
Gas
know
me
what?
up.
We got so self-conscious about how long our episodes were. Like, you probably don't care.
I mean, no, it's not that we're self-conscious, but you know, like,
we're self-conscious.
It's. I think. I like to keep them shorter.
I like to keep them shorter too,
you know, for actual time in the day of like things that we have to do and things like that.
That's not it for me at all.
For me it is.
Yeah,
like,
no, not for me.
You know, like when it comes to recording an episode, like when it goes about an hour and a half, it's great for us because then we can finish and then we can like get the video off your phone and then start again and stuff like that.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me at all. Like it's more
What? You have an opinion?
What?
Your opinion's different to mine?
No. Is it unpopular?
Insane.
Yeah, no, I don't care about that. But like, I feel like it's more digestible when it's less than 2 hours long.
Yes, it is digestible, especially for new people.
Yeah, definitely.
I think
definitely. Okay. This is the penultimate.
Penultimate? Pinnacle.
This is the second to last.
Go for it.
What do you think? I wonder how long this video actually is.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, this one is legendary actions used to just choose to save a saving. Oh my god. Legendary actions used to just choose to save a saving throw suck. As a DM, I feel like it's just such a cop-out. I don't use them. It's more satisfying to me to see a player get excited over their spell working than for me to be like, natural 1, but legendary action, he saves. I think they potentially mean legendary reaction here, but...
Yeah, but it's a legendary resistance.
Yes, resistance,
yeah,
yes.
not legendary action. So, okay, fucking hell, I'm going to talk about this for so long. Fuck's sake. So, I think... legendary resist. I agree. I think just choosing to succeed feels bad.
Okay.
And I've thought of ways. I actually think I've come to the conclusion now why it feels bad. In a very large party, 3 legendary resistances for a 1 boss fight is almost mandatory because you are inevitably going to fail, and then the fight's almost going to be over.
Yeah.
In a small party, having 3 legendary resistances
is a lot.
Is fucking way too much.
A lot.
Because what's happened with my party is I say they legendary resist your spell, and then you guys go, well, that's 1 of 3 burns, like burning the 3 legendary resistances, and then you just don't do it again.
And then we're scared to do it again.
You're like,
totally.
I don't want to fucking waste my spell. I'm just not going to do it again.
Yeah, totally.
And then you just end up casting spells at it. Instead of using spell save DC things.
Yeah, totally.
So what I think it's good to figure out. It's fine to have them.
Yeah.
But I think if you've got a small party, don't have 3. Yeah. Only have 1 or 2.
Yeah. No,
and
that's
use
fair
it in
enough.
a clutch moment.
Yeah.
To save.
When you have to.
Otherwise, naturally just roll because things that have fucking legendary resistances usually have decent modifiers.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be just an instant fail. Do I wish there was another way? Yes.
Yeah.
Could you use a legendary resistance to just gain advantage? That might be a different way to do it.
Yeah.
Instead of just insta-succeeding.
Insta-succeeding. Like, see, part of me, again, I'm so on the fence about this. Like, part of me, yes, it feels terrible, right? Casting a spell and having the DM just go, I'm just going to legendary resistance that. That feels fucking awful.
Dreadful.
It feels terrible. However, I feel like... and maybe that is just because we've obviously had quite a lot of endgame fights, right? Like, that's something that you kind of expect at this point, and you do try to manage what you do and how you do it and when you do it to kind of balance that. And to me, that's part of the fun. But at the same time, it hasn't been me failing. The last campaign, I didn't have any spells that to save or succeed, you know what I mean?
Josh and Abby mostly.
Exactly. And it was always them who obviously had the legendary resistance, and it must have felt terrible for them.
And the thing is, like, the reason you have them as a dungeon master is if there is a 1 boss fight, let's just say you're fighting a dragon.
Yeah.
And you're like
slinging
spells at it, like, if you don't have those auto successes, your fucking ancient red dragon is gonna get fucking dunked on.
Yeah, of course.
It's gonna get fucked in the first few rounds because like
I feel like they're kind of like a necessary evil.
They are necessary, but could we just do them as we have advantage instead?
Yeah.
That would maybe feel better.
Yeah.
Just if you've got a small party, just be conscious of how many legendary resistances they have. Because
you know what? I never thought of it. You're right.
3 is a lot.
You use 1 and we go, okay, 1 of 3. And then we go, can we try waste the others?
And then you just don't.
And then we don't because we're too scared because who wants to waste a spell slot?
My 3 legendary resistances became 1.
Yeah.
And then all you do is just hit it with your spell attack modifier
instead.
And then it just becomes an arms race of who can kill each other faster. And so it's like...
arms race, that's better than laser tag.
Rocket tag.
Rocket tag, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like... So it's... I get it, but also I'm not smart enough to think of the think around.
No, I think advantage is a good one.
Yeah,
and then
maybe.
Advantage, you could have the 3 even against the small party.
But you also, a lot of the time, already have magical resistance.
Yeah, I know.
So you've got advantage, so you're basically just rolling a 3rd dice. So, but you know, I definitely think... I agree. I completely agree. I just don't know what the answer is yet.
I think, unfortunately, it is a necessary evil. And again, to me, part of a boss fight is going, okay, they're probably going to have resistances. And to be honest, when we have that conversation, because we talk above table a lot, you know.
In combat you do.
Yeah.
Out of combat, never.
Oh, no, yeah. We talk a lot about it. You know, part of the plan is working out if we think it's going to have resistances. And then we go, okay, shall we test it? Shall we try this? And then we kind of limit test it to see.
And then you're like, I'll spend some lower spells to try and burn some.
But
and
then again, it's like they're not going to fucking try save against lower spell.
And then they just go, all right, I accept the damage.
Yeah.
And then you didn't burn it, and then you just didn't really do much damage, and then it's like,
it's like a catch-22, innit?
Yeah. So I understand. Some people don't care. Some people just are excited to hear that they use a legendary resistance.
Very much so.
And some people, it does feel stinky. So.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
But I can probably say that I think this is probably unpopular. I think because players, it's.
I don't know.
Maybe it's not. I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it might
what do you think?
I think it's only dungeon. Like, people who've dungeon mastered for a long time, and they want the best for their party.
Yeah.
Because when I hear you guys go, oh, well, that's one, and then you just never cast another spell.
It must feel bad for you too.
It feels bad for you from me.
Yeah, totally.
So,
yeah, totally. Like, and I am assuming they mean legendary resistances. I know they've said
to
action.
Autosave,
Yeah. What do you think? What's your take on that? I think this is once again, this is a really interesting one.
That's a tough one.
I feel like a lot of these have been very nuanced,
they have
to
been
be honest.
Unbelievably nuanced, actually.
Well, for the most nuanced one.
Okay.
The final one.
I hate gnomes.
Oh. That's it. Episode's over. Okay. Accidentally calling a person out of the game by their character is the same as calling a teacher mummy.
We've had this before.
I was going to say, have we had
We've had this before. Yeah.
And to which I say, I call my friends their character names all the time. I'm sure that's what I said.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's anywhere near as embarrassing.
No way.
But
have you ever called a teacher mum?
No.
I don't think I have either, actually.
I'm really good at catching myself when I'm about to say something wrong, though.
Oh, really?
And then I like the amount of times where I go to be like, Miss Newlands.
Oh!
I usually quite good at catching it and then disguising it as something else.
Have I told you about one time?
Oh, God, go on.
This isn't even my story. I won't say their name. One of my friends... you know, like when you trip and then like to pretend you're not tripping, you run. One time they were crossing the road and they were paying. They weren't crossing the road. They were walking on the sidewalk, and they were on their phone, not paying attention. And they saw the shadow of a bus going past them, and they thought the bus was gonna hit them. So they did this like massive like stop in the middle of the road and like stood really funny. And then they realized it was just the shadow, and there was so many people around, and they just pretended they walked with a limp for the rest of it, just to pretend that
Wow. Now that is embarrassing.
They just pretended they had funny gait.
I need you to tell me who
I'll tell you who that was. So fucking funny.
Okay.
Oh,
look.
That's it.
It's a long one.
That's the end.
So let's wrap this puppy up.
Oh, man.
www.eldritchpodblast.co.uk. Pick up some merch. Pick up some Squaddy B merchandise, heavy metal t-shirts, logo t-shirts, the lot.
Today is the last day for International Post to get to you before Christmas.
If you are an international customer,
anyone outside of UK,
if you want to go and pick something from our Hellbound shop, which is also linked down below, Etsy link down below, code Podblast will get you 10% off, but
it's
you have
D&D
to order
stuff
today to get it before Christmas.
Yeah, and even then it's not a guarantee, but
that's
not
a guarantee, but that's the postal deadlines.
UK, you have until next Monday. You have until 18th.
You have until next Monday.
Yes.
Thank you if you've ever considered picking something up from either of those places, because the money goes directly to us and it supports us, so thank you very much. Like the video, hit the bell to be notified when we upload a video on a Monday and a Thursday. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment down below for Algorithm. Is that the entity's name, do you think?
No.
Algorithm.
Entity is simply entity.
Simply the
simply
entity.
Unnamed.
Unnamed. And join the Discord and all the good stuff down below. We love you very much. I love you.
I love you.
Bully loves you. We've been the Eldritch Podblast, and we're going to see you on Thursday. Bye.